W7M for this, because watching through what this squad has been kind of going through in Brazil, smashing everybody.
Yeah.
Now coming here and smashing through everybody in the groups. Jacob emphasized it even more in our pre-show. How do you see this going?
I mean, listen, W7M, I think for a lot of people, myself included, are going to be the favorites for this major. Just after the group stage that we saw, right? I mean, this is a squad that did so well in those group stage. They've got two big players, I think, that really deserve being highlighted. I think GDN has proven to be one of the best supports in all of Brazil. He's really been one of those players who has topped out on so many different stats. The most plants throughout the regular season of Stage 2, the highest survival rate, the highest cost of any Brazilian player. And then the star of the show for W7M, it's KZ, right? He is their top gunner. He's the guy who will pop off at any possible moment. He can go in with the kills. He can go in with the entries. He's always there providing that fragging capabilities for his team. So those two as duos, I can lead the charge for W7M, but they're a very dangerous squad.
Is there an Achilles heel to this team? Because everybody's talking about them. Seems like they're unbeatable.
I mean, there is an Achilles heel. They've never played on a stage like this before. They've played in best of threes. They've been through 2 consecutive Copa Elite stages and have been runners-up both times. So honestly, to the best of 3 format, they are no strangers. But when it comes to something like this, Jesse, you've not been able to do this yet, and I hope at some point you can. We were able to stand up in those boots. They're not soundproof. There's no glass. It's just for show. But when you stand up there and you see all of these people right in front of you and you hear the noise coming from this, I am curious exactly, for both teams especially, but for these guys in particular, how they're going to be able to translate their group stage success to here.
But I've also heard that Volps is not too bad on the team either. I hear that he's got good stats too. So do you think you can have them on the screen even for everybody to see?
I think so. I think Volp's one of those players that can be kind of that sledge player all the time that he needs to be for W7M. You know, he's that soft breacher that can go in with the grenades. I feel like he's been one of those players that just doesn't get talked about enough. I think KZ genuinely steals the show sometimes.
He does.
But Volps is an extremely strong player as well who can be very consistent.
Like, the thing about this is Volps is making contendership for Rookie of the Year. He's making his case. He's doing everything he can to secure that spot for himself. He's just behind Paulu on Team Liquid for sledge rolls. This guy does nearly the same thing and yet is already catching up. He's the 4th highest rated player in Brazil for this entire season so far. There's a lot of things we need to pay attention to on this W7M team, especially for those who might not know W7M very well, but watch Volps closely. His performance matters for everything.
We'll all be watching this squad very closely. A lot of people are seeing them as potentially the winners. Look back at Team 1 last year in Mexico. Might be a similar repetition of what happened. So let's talk about their opponents, though, on the other side. Elevate and bring up kind of the roster to have a chat about them, Jacob, because this team, I think, has stolen the hearts of so many people over the past year. Looking back at Invitational also in Onigiri, usually I don't believe that Elevate actually qualified to an event until I see them in person.
Yeah.
And they are here, indeed. We just saw them get set and ready for it. So what's your take?
I mean, I heard a lot of cheers for Elevate when they came out. Is everyone still here? Elevate, yeah?
There's some APAC fans in here.
Elevate have been the most consistent APAC team this stage, bar none. A super impressive performance back at the 6th Invitational. Qualified for Charlotte through the playoffs, obviously couldn't go, but they kept that momentum rolling, and they were the first seeded team out of APAC South to qualify for this. They're the only team from APAC who's managed to qualify for both majors so far, in spite of not being able to go to Charlotte. And they even kept that rolling for an undefeated streak at the beginning of the group stage that made them the first team out of everybody in Berlin to qualify for playoffs.
And on Onigiri, I mentioned them for a moment. We got graphics to talk about his performance overall because the man is a machine, Jesse.
Yeah, Onigiri, I think, has often been kind of the linchpin for Elevate, the one that really has driven them forwards. And something that a lot of people have noted throughout these group stages is that he's not been that same player for Elevate. Now, he's not been awful, he's not been bad, he's not been a disastrous player for the squad, but he has slipped back a little bit. And there's something that Elevate, their CEO, talked a little bit on Twitter about how they've really moved themselves to be more of a team-focused roster, right? One that doesn't need to rely on Onigiri to pop off. Still, though, I think there are a few issues that you have to look at coming into things. Elevate as a team right now have one of the worst opening pick problems that we see so far from the teams that made it to top 8. 47% entry. Only them in G2 are under 50% in that category, and it's largely because Onigiri is doing so poorly. 29% from his personal entry stat. One of the worst that we've got here in the top 8 as well. If he wasn't on the squad putting up those entry numbers, they'd be positive, but unfortunately that's not the situation, and so he's got to sharpen that up.
Well, Mr. Punch has really taken a lot of that slack that Audagiri was
100%.
originally having. It's nice that this team is a little bit more balanced. Obviously, we would love it if Audagiri could get another 27-kill game and go crazy, but that's not what this team is based on anymore. It's far more spread out amongst everybody else, and they're firing on all cylinders. They would like you to forget what they did in day 3 of groups because they won 3 rounds over 2 games. That's not.
It didn't matter. They made it through, and now I'm really excited to see what maps we're going to have for this series, because this is what I love about international games. We get to see teams that normally would never be playing against one another. So a reminder, best of 3 series all the way through to our grand final, which is a best of 5. That'll be a long and very exciting day, and here's how it went down. It's ban, 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 then pick and pick. So first up, Elevate going for Kafe. They start off on the attacking side. W7M picking Bank. They're starting off on the attacking side on there. And finally, our decider will be a Border. Jesse, let's talk globally for just a minute here.
Sure.
How do you feel this going?
Well, I like this map ban phase, I think, for W7M a little bit more. I think you started that very first pick for Elevate, right? They go to Kafe, and Elevate are a great Kafe team. You know, this is a squad that they're 4-1 on the map this year since the 6th Invitational ended. Every single opponent in group stage banned this map against Elevate, so the competition so far clearly sees this as a strong map for them, but you look at W7M, and I'm a little afraid of their Kafe. An 8-game win streak dating back to last year. That's when this team wasn't even that good. They were struggling last year. They've got wins over teams like Santos, INTZ, Black Dragons, Furious, Furia, Isurus, NIP, Gaming Gladiators, and you might be thinking those aren't the best teams. Those are some kind of mid to bottom tier Brazil squads, some South American teams, but still, I think it says something that teams like FaZe, teams like NIP, teams like Liquid always ban this map against W7M, and Elevate have chosen to pick it.
The fact that we're even heading back to Border, the very last one, is another one, W7M. Like, you are trucking through so many different maps that W7M have played. The discrepancy in how much APAC plays versus Brazil is huge, especially if you make it to Copa Elite. There's a massive difference between what APAC's been able to do, which is usually about 7 games a stage, and there wasn't even playoffs in stage 2. W7M have got far more actual experience in a server, so will that translate to this?
We talked about Kafe and how kind of those streaks go, but what if we talked strategy?
Right.
What would be there for Elevate to fear? The W7M's X factor, and what can Elevate do to bring it back and maybe get that first map that would put them in an advantage?
Listen, W7M are an extremely scary team on defense. This is where they've really shined. You look at the stats, and you take a look at a 74% defensive win rate throughout groups. That blows every other team out of the water. It is not close when you look at the stats for defensive win rate against other teams. I believe the next highest was Wolves, down at like the 68, 66 range, somewhere around there. It's not been strong for other squads on defense. So you take a look at W7M having such a strong place there, and I think you really do want to favor Elevate to come out strong. I think if they can maybe disrupt the mental game a little bit, if they can get some rounds on that attacking half, that's probably going to throw a wrench into the plans of W7M a little bit, who haven't been bad at attack, but it's certainly been a weaker side for them. So I think that's probably where the game plan needs to lie for Elevate.
I mean, the problem is if you look at it statistically, Elevate and W7M on both attack and defense, it skews towards W7M on both counts. So they're relatively even on defense, but then it really gives W7M the full-on advantage when you swap sides again. So even if Elevate were to start on defense, it's not a guarantee that they're going to have the favored side on Kafe, so to speak. So it needs to be swingy. It needs to be APAC-y. If it's janky and it works, don't question it. Just keep doing it. That's what we need to see more of today.
You talk about jank. I start thinking about what's operator picks going to look like, what's compositions that could be pulled out, because we've seen a whole host of different strategies set up, you know, maybe around a Tachanka or whatever you want to work. Because Kafe does allow for that flexibility.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you take a look at some of the operators that Elevate have been bringing. We're seeing a lot of Twitch coming in from DCH. That's an operator that doesn't see a whole lot of play typically, but this major...
APAC loves it. APAC loves their Twitch.
Elevate do, and I think other teams this major really have been playing a lot of that as well, so we've seen a bit of that coming through on the attack. On defensive sides, really nothing crazy standing out to me looking at the stats so far. It's a bit of a small sample size. A lot of, I mean, I'll go back to DCH, I guess. A lot of Jaeger play. At least in North America, we've really started to lean more towards that Wamai. Jaeger can be a little bit old school. I think Jaeger's quite good on Kafe in particular, so that might be something that strengthens them a little bit, but certainly we'll have to see where it goes for Elevate on the choices.
We're looking at, I think, Mark Shortboys. When he's on defense, he'll play everything. He's the everything. He's the Swiss Army knife. He will literally do everything for this team. The problem is, all of his other teammates usually hard stick to about 2 or 3 ops on defense. DCH back on the Jaeger, Mr. Punch on mute more often than not, an Onigiri, and that Aruni DMR is something to be feared if it's in the server. So obviously, they're good shots. Are W7M better, though? Just on a base level, that's been Brazil's bread and butter for the past 2 years and why they're in this position in the first place. These guys gun like nobody else. They'll snap to your head. It's too bad Pino's not here because I want to see some more of those flicks. But he's got 3 other teams from Latin America that basically do the same thing.
Yeah, and you're talking about Rainbow Six operators. I feel like in this meta, you have to talk about Finka. Elevate are one of those teams that always banner out. They don't really like to play with Finka on the board. KZ, that's going to be a big hit to him. Obviously, the best player fragging-wise on W7M. He's typically the one that's given the best gun right now on attack. That's going to be stripped away from him more likely than not. He's flexible. He can play Zoe. He can play Yana. I don't think it's going to be a huge hit to him, but anytime you're not able to play on your main operator, you're going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and that might be something to start them off when they start on attack. That might hinder them a little bit in the early rounds.
Site preferences. We've seen a lot of kind of flexibility on Kafe, not just in operators and compositions, as you guys were mentioning, but also it's not unusual to see all 4 sites being played. Yes, you won't be seeing kind of mining dining that often. It's definitely the lowest played here, but it seems like people have found a way to play it well on defense.
I think so. I think that, like, you take a look at a map like Kafe, right, and the big thing that sticks out to me is vertical pressure, right? Having a strong sledge player, having somebody that can really rip up the floorboards, especially on a map like, or on a site like Kitchen, but also reading, also dining, that can be so huge. So I think that's going to be a main thing that teams are going to be looking at. And we highlighted him, right? We highlighted the guy on W7M who plays those roles, Volps. That might be something that Elevate want to take into consideration. Maybe they want to play a little bit more of that top floor. Top floor bomb site can be hit or miss for some teams. I think generally people are happy to play it, but certainly something to think about, I think, when you're choosing these bomb sites, because when you've got somebody like Volps on the side of W7, it can be very scary to have him above you.
I'll make the argument that if you can get away with not playing Cocktail Bar in this game, you're probably better off, because you need some other creative strategies in this matchup, and that site plays nearly the exact same way, the exact same time, over and over and over again. If for some reason you don't know how to attack Bar Cocktail, you're doing it wrong, and these guys should. So you've got 3 other options that you should be able to work with, so we'll see mostly Kitchen, we'll see mostly reading. I honestly think mining is going to be the tertiary site in this game.
Maybe. I do want to say as well, though, like, I think if you're going to be going up and you're going to be playing some of those lower bomb sites, right, on this side of Elevate, what they need to do is they've got to have heavy roams, right? Because you cannot just give up that much top floor ground to a team like W7M. They're going to use it against you every single time. But one thing that we started to see with Elevate when the cracks started showing those last couple of days was their roam game really did slow down. We've talked about how good Mr. Punch was on roam, and he was, but a lot of that came on Playday 1. And when we came into the second Playday, I think the cracks even started to form back then on defense. A little bit of overswing, some offsite players started falling, and then day 3, it was just a disaster. It felt like Sapper could not stay alive on the roam when he was over there. Eventually, by the end of their final game, they just tried to anchor. It was Oregon, they just refused to roam because it was going that poorly for them. So we cannot let that happen again. The roamers, Mr. Punch, and Sapper need to be showing up from Elevate early in these rounds.
I'll make the argument, though, that because Elevate played Oregon twice, on the day where they only won 3 rounds, it might be more of a case of they already knew they qualified, they know there's a lot of tape on them on Oregon, so we're just going to play this, we won't do exactly what we're meant to do, and we're just going to leave it. We're probably not even going to pick it for the rest of the playoffs, because look at how deep their map pool can get aside from that. They've got plenty of options on the board. So is it, like, specifically for Elevate, they just look at that last day and they want people to just forget that it ever happened? That's a viable strategy when you already know you're qualifying and you don't want to play Oregon in the playoffs.
It's not like rushes don't happen on Kafe. How many times have you seen Ying Glass plus?
You've got
Maru,
trying to
quite
push
good
through it.
on this map.
Can you see that happening here? I mean, this is the crazy time. This is Elevate and W7M.
I think so. I think that, like, W7M are certainly a team that can pull out those types of plays, but Elevate as well. I think when you take a look at W7M, a team that can be so aggressive and so strong on the attacking side of things, I think that's absolutely going to be something in their repertoire. I feel like it's something that you're more likely to bring out when you're not confident in your initial pushes anyways.
Yeah.
Kafe is a very defender-sided map. Maybe that'll be the case for W7M. I don't see it being their go-to right off the rip for round 1, but later in the game, for sure, I think that could be a thing for them.
I don't know. I'm still kind of in my head initially giving this to W7M. Mostly from a map preference perspective, mostly because they've got way more playtime on it than Elevate do combined when you think about how often they play maps. And the fact that they've been so dominant on defense this event. They are, what was the number again? They were like 10 points above whoever was in second place from a pure percentage standpoint. And Wolves is in second, and Wolves is a phenomenal team on defense. W7M had them beat by so much that it makes me wonder what map on defense they suck at.
That's even weirder considering the fact that this is as attacker-heavy of a meta as we've ever had in the history of Siege.
And I think that's like a great point to bring up, Milos, because we saw back at the Charlotte Major, right? We saw that the attackers really did come out on top. I think the semifinals of Charlotte were really a test of two great attacking teams in Astralis and Dark Zero against two great defending teams of Liquid and Oxygen. And in both cases, the attacking side of teams, the teams that really knew how to utilize six-pick, Finka, grenades, yellow pings, all the tools that attackers have right now really came out on top. And then you come into Berlin and you look at the group stage, and a lot of those strong North American attacking teams kind of fell flat. The key one being Astralis.
You don't have to say it out, Jesse. If you say it out loud, it means it actually happened. Stop.
Because it did.
Stop. It didn't happen.
Because it
didn't happen.
Deal with it. There's 3 European teams. They made it through. That's what matters.
No, stop. No.
There you go.
No.
All right. All right. Since our NA talent needs a moment to get their copium together, thank you so much, gentlemen. You've been wonderful, and thank you, Jesse, for arriving literally at the I guess, 11th hour.
I'm so tired.
I know, but we have a long day, and we have some exciting matches for everybody. Berlin, are you ready for the first game of the major? W7M versus Elevate. Let's get it started. Onto Casters. Let's go. It's Amanda and Dev. Enjoy.
Cheers, Milos. The theater is filling up. The players are in the lobby. Mandy, are you ready?
Yes, I am, Dev. And for all of you watching at home, whether it's day or night, we are so glad that you're here to join us in this quarterfinal.
Just listen to that. The energy is starting to heat up. It is a hot day already in Berlin. Can't imagine what it's going to be like by the time we hit the server. W7M have been fighting tooth and nail all year long. They have been on a resurgence, near relegation at the end of last year, and now they're one of the tournament favorites.
Absolutely. W7M, they seem to have come out of nowhere. They were so close to not even being here at the end of 2021, but now they're here, this quarterfinal.
And Elevate, the last shining light for APAC. The Kings of Thailand looking to make their mark on history here in Berlin. Where do we begin? It's the first quarterfinal of the major. What are they saying?
Onigiri.
They want to. Hey, you guys want to see another record broken? Onigiri has been in shy form this tournament. It's the newbies on Elevate that have been stepping up. But as we get into the game, there's no stopping it from here. Let's break the fast that we have had of live Siege in Europe and kick off this major. W7M from Brazil, Elevate from Thailand. Never before have they seen the top 4. And for one of these teams, that's all about to change.
And it's Kafe. It's Elevate's pick. But can they deliver?
Great place to start. Elevate taking us to Kafe, a traditionally defender-sided map, and they start on that defensive side. They also start with the first attacking ban. W7M, though, as Jesse alluded to on the desks, they are no strangers to W7M.
LMG being taken out of the lobby, folks. No more Finker on the board for W7M, starting out on the attack. The second one to come through now.
Oh. That's an unusual one. The Twitch sees a lot of play. DCH plays a mean Twitch. But there's a lot of operators left in here. Everyone's favorite ban, Thatcher, he slipped through.
That just slipped through. Flores has slipped through. Maverick, he's through as well. This is a very stacked lineup for the attack, don't you think so?
Warden ban. That's an uncommon one. That means the mirror slipped through as well.
Everything here on the hands of the attack and the defense as well. No more mirror. Still here. Not going through the ban phase. Azami slipping through as well. Picked up by DCH now on the defense.
And it's Elevate that need to start strong here. We go down to reading Fireplace. W7M on the attack. They have been menacing. They always bring the fight to you, attack or defense. And they will set the pace in the opener here.
Elevate, though, they've thrown us to a curveball, taking us to Reading Room as the first bomb site of choice. Typically a tertiary bomb site, but trying to throw off W7M.
Keen to see what this Azami can do for DCH. The newest operator to join the pool and has been so impactful, creating these power positions with the Wamai and Jaeger to boot. It's going to be so difficult here for W7M to get in, but they have all kinds of tools of their own.
And yes, they do. There's GDN with the Amaru pick. Garhook, where is it? No, he's not even going to use the Amaru hook to get onto this roof. Where is it going to come from? W7M.
Is this a rush play? It's hard to say. You've got that Ying there, the infamous Ying. You've got the Amaru in tandem as well for potential rushes.
GDN
to push in through Bakery.
Here's the kit as well. Do you see this? The diffuser on the Amaru. The site. It's Fireplace. Elevate, do they know?
Do they know that there's a hatch? That he could go straight up. Look at this. This is not something you see every day. W7M have brought a very cheeky idea. It is a rush play. How long until it's going to go down? The gridlock, it goes out. Bolts to open it with the shotty. And W7M are in this side, planting the diffuser. Elevate. Where is their reply? Mark to jump out, finds one. But they are still on the receiving end of this push. And W7M have the advantage. That shotgun sledge finally taken down, and Elevate have evened this up.
The retake, though, it is on for Elevate. Only 30 seconds left to defuse this bomb.
Oh,
DCH!
A quick flick there, and, well, with time on W7M's side, Elevate have all the pressure. GDN below, he's got this shotgun. It's the perfect operator. He can get that down. KZ to secure the kill. DCH and Mark now in the 2v1, but there is no time left for this diffuser. What a rush from W7M. What a play. And what a way to set the pace of this game.
What a gorgeous attack from W7M, kicking us off with a rush. Elevate. They were not ready for that. They were holding on to that top floor. They were waiting for the roam clear patiently, but it never came through.
W7M opting to go for a rush rather than clearing out the Elevate players. They've come into this game very well prepared. They know exactly what they need to do to push Elevate's buttons, avoid the push. We said that they like to take the fight to their opponents. Well, they certainly like taking it directly to the side there.
But Elevate, they're not going to repeat this bomb site one anymore, taking us up to Bar and Cocktail instead. Trying something a little bit more traditional. They know that they can't throw off W7M because, well, they have a reply.
And W7M have come through the BR6 as the best team. In stage one, they won 8 matches in a row. Went to playoffs, went to the major. Unfortunately for them, that fairy tale run was cut short. And filled with drama of their own, Elevate, unfortunately, a similar situation, unable to make it to Charlotte and compete. Now they have to redeem themselves here, but W7M have set the pace. They've set the tempo.
Elevate, they're looking to extend into this ground floor. They're going to be ready this time for anything that W7M might have up their sleeve. No ground floor entry, though. GDN back on their banner, his home roll. Making their way up to the top floor now. Repels, that's going to be the first point of contest for W7M, but Elevate, they have a fortress with the Azami inside of Piano.
And they also have a roam. Mr. Punch below, he has excelled in this tournament. Both of these teams, 3 vets and 2 rookies. And the rookies of both sides have been carving their names in the annals of this major. W7M to start clearing through the map. There's a lot of ground to take here, and Kafe, historically so difficult to take ground on.
And just look at the architecture that Elevate have got, but hang on a second, W7M. We've got something else in the up and bag. up their sleeve. The first cans that'll come out, but no entry to follow just yet. Still trying to throw off Elevate. Will any of them falter? Will any of them flinch?
In the intro video, W7M said they were going to play more passively. And they've done quite the opposite so far. DCH in a bit of a pickle, stuck between two keeper barriers. He loses one. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, flashed out, and KZ to open up the round. W7M are riding over Elevate.
Elevate, the architecture not working out in their favor. Two keeper barriers to squish between poor DCH, but in the end, he couldn't connect the shots. KZ with the entry now. Oh, a tussle though, in the ground floor, down below. Who's that? Is that Hertz? That's Hertz, does he know? Patience.
Patience. Mr. Punch mushed up through the hallway, and he's gone back to side. Hertz would have heard that. What is the play from W7M though? 5v3. And the Incandelas start to erupt on the site. Sapper in an impact position. The MVP of APAC South. He's had a quiet tournament so far, and now he's flashed out. W7M step up once again, but Mr. Punch to reply. Finally, Sapper in the pivotal moment steps up, but is immediately traded back. W7M, they brought the fire.
Total shutout from W7M once again with the first 2 picks on the entry in Elevate. Had no response, no trades for DCH. Where were the crossfires? They weren't there. And W7M take the second round.
It's been a dominating performance so far. Many people have wondered, are W7M one of the tournament favorites? And I think a lot of people, seeing their group's performance, seeing that nigh flawless record, up until the final game on the final day, they lost 8-7 to Wolves. By that point, W7M had already qualified for the playoffs, already locked in first seed, and all they dropped was that single point of opportunity. They are not slowing down here into the quarterfinals. This is the best they have ever done. To make a semi would mean the world to this squad.
I think in this matchup, even just these first 2 rounds, we're really seeing the W7M philosophy come through. They're taking it a little bit more slowly to Elevate. They don't want to rush into these guys. They know that Elevate, they could make mistakes. These guys are rookies. This is the first time on the main stage. And now Elevate taking us down to this basement bomb site. They're not going to repeat the mistakes of the first 2 rounds. Try something new. See if W7M, see if they falter.
This is the first time that either of these teams have played in front of a crowd quite like this. And that pressure starts to mount up. Elevate, there was no crowd at 6 Invitational. W7M, well, I'm afraid they weren't at the event in Charlotte, but JV's already kicked off here, reading into the aggression, whether by a drone or pure game sense, he punishes Mark.
It opens up an invitation to the second floor as well. KZ making his way straight inside of Library, waiting to cut off any of these roamers. Where are the roamers of Elevate? Certainly not in this ground floor. They're all back on the site. All 4 players now, the entire map, at the hands of W7M.
You can just see how the Brazilians have asserted their dominance and forced Elevate back into their shells. Elevate will now rely on their anchorage utility, rely on the information from these yokais, rely on the late keeper barriers from DCH, on the Azami. These will be the linchpins. W7M already have so much map control. It's up to them now to decide what's the next step.
And look how many tools they have in their arsenal. JV. Bit of a cheeky shot onto Mr. Punch. He's to fall back a slither of HP. Ripped out a C4 in his hand. Oh no.
This keeper barrier may provide JV the most fortunate angle. Mr. Punch needs to be careful. He's already revealed his toesies. Doesn't want to pop up his head. JV would be happy to play whack-a-mole with that.
Volt, so he's playing whack-a-mole of his own with a sledgehammer to make the vertical, but JV taken down with the C4. Mr. Punch has an answer.
Yeah. Traded immediately back though. W7M retain that man advantage.
And now, so many tools in their arsenal. The vertical, pressuring out, Elevate. They have to slide around through the bomb site, but Sapper in such a precarious position. You see him, Hurts. The shots do connect.
There's not enough ammo. And the trade, surely it can come through. Elevate, try to contest the vertical game. But W7M are mounting up this pressure. 40 seconds.
40 seconds, is that enough time for W7M? Elevate still holding on.
Oh, DCH, what's he got? Destroys the keeper barrier. It's just him and Onigiri left, and that plan is going down. What can Onigiri do on the side? No C4, has to move forward, has to deny the plan, but feeling the pressure from the red stairs. DCH, a 1v4, surely not possible. W7M, they just don't stop.
W7M, once again, up yet another round. The tempo that these guys are setting in the rounds.
Got a couple of Brazilian fans, it sounds like. At what point will Elevate be able to rile up their own fans, I wonder? W7M have been stealing the show so far. And well-deserved applause. 3 rounds straight. If anything, Mandy, they may have already met half the course on this attacking side.
Elevate, they're not matching the tempo of W7M. W7M, they take the beginning slow. Kafe, it's always so difficult to make your way into the building. You need that roof control. You need to get onto the balcony first. But Elevate getting hasty on that aggression is giving away an invitation to W7M to walk straight into that building. And if Elevate can't dial it back and match the pace that W7M are setting for them, they could keep making these mistakes over and over again.
Well, W7M are just so ready for whatever playstyle Elevate decides to bring that round. When Elevate were heavy roaming, W7M rushed the site. When Elevate bunkered down onto site, W7M set up and executed.
Elevate taking us back to the top floor. We the 4th site of choice. Looking for a spawn peak once again. Onigiri on that DMR. Hang on a moment. Faith is being restored for me. Dev Onigiri, he's back on the Arini DMR and he's looking confident. Look at that.
Everyone remembers what happened when Onigiri played against Rogue on Oregon at the 6th Invitational. He broke that kill record by maining this DMR. And everyone is waiting for him to step up and lead Elevate back into this game. W7M, though, they're playing it so well, and that's another opener. Sapper goes down. Beautifully played from W7M. Herds gets his teammate to shoot down that barricade. There's an easy spray for him deep into sight.
W7M constantly capitalizing on the mistakes that Elevate are making. Every time they step out of way, there is a W7M player there to meet. And Nate's follow through as well, and Volps will collect the 2nd kill. Once again, Elevate down in the man advantage.
It's only a minute into the game, Mandy. It's only a minute in the round. And Elevate once again on the back foot, feeling that pressure. What do? You try and get aggressive. Do you have to play passive? It feels like there's no choice. It feels like you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't.
Elevate, it's about the timing. You need that aggression, but not like this. Not when you can run into line of sight of KZ playing the perfect crossfire. GDN now. Mark left in the 1 versus 5, and he cannot close it out. Volps.
Perfection from W7M. It only gets more and more convincing. A perfect round. These Brazilians are so cool.
Yes, they are.
So collected.
Look at them.
Haven't even broken a sweat.
These guys, they look so calm. It's a W7M flow. They get to the building. They put that aggression onto Elevate, but it's slow, it's steady. They don't overpeak. But Elevate, they're falling short. They feel the fear of W7M players surrounding them like vultures. They feel like they have to peek into them, but it's all for nothing. There's never been a trade. And W7M, as soon as they get that first pick, they take it and they run.
4-0 down Elevate. Take their tactical timeout. What are they going to talk about right now? How do you get back into it after losing 4 rounds in a row? KZ, he's not even died yet. He's got 5 kills, 0 deaths.
It's very tough for Elevate. W7M, I think for Elevate, they have to match the pace that they're going for. W7M have the read on the flow of Elevate. They know that Elevate like to get aggressive. They know that they like to go for these peaks and hold forward positions. But for Elevate, they're playing themselves. That is their downfall at the moment in this defense. And we can see them now changing the philosophy a little bit. Miss the punch now going onto the Goyo, trying to delay that time to get into the site. Oni now as well, switching off onto the Mozzie, delaying any intel in tandem with the mute.
It feels like Elevate looking to hold onto this map control for a little bit longer. W7M attacking this kitchen bomb site. Previously, they made such quick effort, clearing the whole map, opening up that vertical game. And that's what Elevate wishes to change.
And it was off the back of that spawn peak as well. Mark, he tried to jump out through that fireplace window, and it didn't work out. JV was there to meet his fight. Now Elevate, though, look, something so different. They've got all the utility placed inside of the bomb site. The roam is early from Mark, but he's got a place that he can fall out.
Elevate. Feeling desperate. It's been a rough start for the Thai team. In fact, it's been a rough end to the group stage. They went flawless, perfect 4 games in a row. Then they only won 3 rounds in the next 2. And they haven't run a round since. DCH goes down early. Hertz is already in the building and looking for more. He's gone all the way up into Whiskey and so close to the site. A stone's throw. Elevate better be ready for this. He may well just waltz straight on in.
Oh no, and JV as well. He's just put a Nomad jab down. He's setting up for that flank watch, protecting his entry, and Hertz, he'll be the first into the bomb site. Can he collect any more?
Where's the trade? There is none. And Hertz is looking powerful here. He's got the site. He does eventually get traded back, but Sapper whiffs the shot. A 2v3 now, unless Hertz can be picked up. Onigiri's back in the site, trying his best to duel around the precarious angles. The trade comes through from W7M. It's all on Mark now.
1 versus 3 situation for him, making his way down. These Whiskey scares. Oh! A cheeky melee angle. Hertz has only just been picked up as well. He has the chance to take this 1-on-1, and he does. Can he collect the second? Plant is going down.
And confirmed, it's all on Mark. His first game in front of an audience, and he must deliver the goods. He's got time to play with. A cheeky angle, a nice spray. And W7M, give him the respect he deserves! Mark to clutch up, but GDN says not today, son. A solid effort from Elevate. The closest round we have had yet. But W7M are running away with this game. 5 rounds straight.
And the crowd here at Berlin cheering on Mark. That 1 versus 3, so close. All of us in our hearts. Elevate, they've won them. They've taken our hearts at this international stage. Mark and Mr. Punch, the duo, to show up here at the major.
Elevate won our hearts at the 6th Invitational. They broke our hearts at the Charlotte Major when they were unable to attend. Now they may break our hearts again. W7M, though, they are the rising stars of Brazil. They have made a name for themselves within their region. But can they carve their names upon this Berlin Major? They look so strong here. This is Elevate's map pick in W7M. They chose to start attack, and I can certainly see why.
10 seconds remaining.
Elevate, though, they're going to take us down to the Reading and Fireplace bomb site once again. Will they give up this first pick this time? I think that's the question here. It's the entries that have come for their downfall. W7M, the 2 newest players, Volps and JV, hailing from FPL, of course, now here at a major stage. They've just been so sharp.
They have. And KZ only died for the first time in that last round. Elevate, desperate to at least find 1 round away from the half. This is their last-ditch effort, their last chance.
The philosophy has changed them once again, though. They're holding a much more close to the site. There's 4 of them on one side, only DCH holding the architecture of Piano to himself. But W7M, they're not even going to try this roam clear. Look at them, making their way into mining, looking for any of those anchors that might be making a mistake in their position, trying to catch someone out.
And Hertz is on the forefront.
Attackers have located a bomb.
So close to the site now as the drone goes in. And the E1D sings out. Hertz will move forward. Lights up on Onigiri. Can't land the fatal shot. Just barely. And a spray through the wall from Mr. Punch. There's a bit of damage his way, but Hertz unafraid. He will hold on to his position.
And look at that, W7M forcing the Elevate players back to the site. We've just seen 2 players now rotate down the white stairs, wary that the entry might come through at any time. W7M, the tempo, the pressure is relentless onto the site, and Elevate, what are they going to do about it?
Pressure's the right word. Elevate feeling it, but finally, they come to life. W7M shot down. Volps is the last one left. flawless from Elevate.
And the crowd cheering for Elevate, finally back in this game. Let's go, Elevate!
They're going to need all the help that they can get, Mandy. W7M has been phenomenal. They are up 5-1, and now we switch sides. Elevate on the attack. W7M to defend their lead here on Kafe.
Oh, but W7M, look at this strategy. It's oozing confidence already. Preparing for a cigar hold. 3 ADSs, 1 mute jammer, castle barricades, and the Azami. Building a fortress inside of this top floor. This oozes confidence. This is aggression. This is something that Elevate didn't bring when they were defending this site. How are they going to deal with it?
There's one thing that W7M are not short on. Well, there are many things. And one of them is confidence. They know that they've got this. They know they are the better team. They tell themselves that every day. They know that they can make it to a final. They know that they can be champions. And it's that kind of confidence that carries them through these rounds. What a strong setup. It's on Elevate to get the biggest mallet they can and crack that egg.
Elevate, they brought something a little bit different. They've decided to bring along the Ossa on the side of DCH. I wonder what play they can go for there, perhaps sneaking in a plant in the default spot. I'm not sure. But Elevate, I can't wait to see what they can bring. The first thing they have to contest, though, this clear inside of Piano, and who boy, is that going to be a tricky one?
Well, the Azami didn't work out well for Elevate. W7M liking their chances. Onigiri opening a long angle above the reinforcement. Also running the DMR, mind you. His trademark at this point. On the buck, no less. But what have Elevate got here? You can't just sit on Repel the whole round. They've got to clear these positions, and W7M are more than happy to wait and receive.
Sapper now jumping on that south Repel. Ready to look in through that double door, but of course it's castled off, and now the Kiba barrier to follow as well. W7M already bleeding away the time of Elevate on this attack.
Well, concussions come through. Has Sapper got any more util? Look at this from Herds. Very cheeky all the way below, but KZ goes down. He's been so dangerous so far. And Onigiri opens it up.
And now that's a defense of W7M cut in half. The player inside of Piano. Now, GDN, he falls as well. Missed the punch to collect the second kill. And finally, Elevate with the man advantage. We've never seen this before.
DCH low HP after getting picked up. Look at this from Herds, though. An aggressive position. If Elevate know about it, he could cost W7M the round. He's on for this flank. DCH may have heard it, but DCH is so low. And he's now fallen back. Cautiously awaiting for this flank, but Herds has to time it perfectly.
Oh, no.
Oh! Only
DCH.
one bullet Herds needs to down DCH, but Mr. Punch comes right on back.
JV, though, he can collect one in the 1 versus 5. It's going to have to be a miraculous clutch from him. 3 players inside of inside of Cigar, but he's being surrounded. Do they know where he is? The plant is starting to go down.
Got to isolate these 1v1s. Oh, no way! He almost did it, but Elevate, another convincing round. Finally, they have found their footing. Took them a while to get into it, but here they are.
And Elevate, they didn't take any of their chances in that round. Even with the man advantage up, they were patient. When they got into the site, the Ossa shield still went down to protect the planter, afraid of the push from JV. They cannot give W7M anything left to get back into this series.
That's it. There are no more allowances from Elevate. They cannot afford to lose a single round. They made all the mistakes that they could on their defense. Now that they switch onto the attack, they'll need to win 5 more rounds straight, which would be 7 in a row to prevent it from going overtime. W7M so close to match point, but it's been a bit of a drought. They've only had 2 kills in the last 2 rounds.
W7M now taking us down to the ground floor bomb site. Playing the Kiba barrier inside of VIP, holding on to the backside for as long as they can, as well as an aggressive shield onto the freezer hatch drop as well. It seems like W7M have a pretty good read on the fact that Elevate, they might be looking for this freezer take. A lot of utility dedicated to this side of the map so far.
And a spawn peak, of course, naturally. Both of these teams love to set the pace. And it's Herds casually awaiting. Sonagiri going to get caught out. Herds backs off. And Elevate must now march forward, attack this basement bomb site. Kitchen bomb site. Nice setup there, though, from W7M. Bit of an unusual placement of the shield. And, of course, the Kiba barriers to support GDN. Moving forward in prep as well. How is Elevate going to clear this?
Volps, he's about to be met by the face of Sapper and one of his teammates to follow behind. Herds even using the Kiba barrier to his protection, trying to help out his teammate inside of Bakery. That's Sapper making his way in now.
Well, here's something new. The Monty from Sapper. What can Elevate do with this? Bit of a breach on the prep wall. The Yana Gemini to go forward, reveal that position. Mr. Punch playing such a pivotal role here on this small Bakery window, but oh, he does get Herds. Kiba barrier's not gonna save ya. Elevate have turned it up.
GDN now as well left on the site. Smoke canisters in his hand, but is about to be met once again by that unstoppable force of Sapper making his way through the breach. Now going open. Elevate shaping up for this Bakery take.
But they're not gonna slow down. They're not gonna give in to any adversity, to any scoreline, to any advantage that W7M might have. Elevate says, we don't care. GDN now in the 1v5. It is another flawless round for Elevate.
And Elevate, they've repeated exactly what W7M did. I was praising W7M for their tempo. They took it slow. They were cautious on these entries. They were punishing the mistakes of Elevate when they were on their defense, but Elevate, they can do the exact same thing.
Got a feeling I know who the crowd supports. There's a lot of Brazilian fans in here as well, but Elevate have won the hearts of the community, and they have won the last 3 rounds in a row in such a dominant fashion. In every region, Kafe swings towards the defense. Here, it has been all attack all day long. And W7M, they're the ones now with the pressure mounting.
This feels like a little bit of deja vu, don't you think so? At this point in the defense, Elevate, they took their tactical timeout as well. Now W7M, they're taking their attack, trying to figure out how to match pace with this Elevate entry. The onslaught of the Montaigne Oni to follow behind. It was just so good.
Yeah, and Elevate have been so good on their attack. There was some cause for concern for Elevate fans. After they went 4 games straight in the groups, they only won 3 rounds. They played Oregon twice, and they really fell apart. It was a rough day 3 for Elevate. They managed to concede first seed from their group. But if they can match pace here with W7M, it might not matter. Elevate, on their day, are capable of anything.
W7M, they'll take us over to the Reading and Fireplace bomb site. Looking for this top floor hold, very similar to what Elevate brought out on their defense as well.
5 seconds left.
Site construction doubled up in the form of GDN and Volps. I can only imagine pressure on those vertical lines, anticipating that Elevate might be wanting to hit onto the site.
And KZ at one point was 5-1. Now he's 5-4. After a couple of big multi-kills, some of these W7M players have gone quiet. They've only had, what, 1 or 2 kills in the last 3 rounds? Elevate have managed to string together some flawless. And Mr. Punch spots out JV below. JV himself, one of the most dangerous players that Brazil has ever produced.
Elevate, though, starting to mount their attack onto this building. Of course, the hatch, first point of contest, getting that open with the buck, but where are the W7M players? A C4 ripped out for Herds, anticipating this top floor push. And KZ, is he getting aggressive on this red hatch? Ooh. I think he is.
Very advanced position, but also trapped inside of the elevator in Cigar. He can be cut off if Elevate are aware of his position. If they misdrone him, however, it would be devastating. Onigiri sets his flank watch drone. That drone just goes straight past KZ.
KZ. I think he's just gone by undetected. Elevate. What is your answer? Where's the entry coming out? Oni, he's just got off his drone. Red house drop any second now, and KZ, he rounds the corner. He can collect DCH.
This is where Elevate have to reply, and they do. DCH goes down, but still plenty of vertical capability for Elevate in the form of the sledge and the buck. In this 4v4, they have the top floor, but they don't have a lot else.
And the time is ticking away for Elevate as well. All of the W7M players now retreated their way back to the site, recalling their anchors. Herd still holding on to mining, just in case Elevate pivots and decide to do a more horizontal type push instead, but it looks like they're holding on to this vertical control for now. Sapper making his way down the white stairs.
And this is the promise of W7M. They said they would play passive. They said that they would waste Elevate's time. That's exactly what we're seeing. Because as that timer ticks on down, the pressure mounts and Elevate will be forced to make a decision.
The philosophy of W7M working out so far. GDN even gets rewarded for it, taking down Mr. Punch. Sapper trying to make something out of the vertical, but the time is ticking away. There's only 36 seconds. Elevate, where are you?
Well, Mark, he's the first one to step forward, playing the position on the reinforcement. See you later, JV. Oh my God. Mark and Sapper together will march downstairs. GDN puts a face full of buckshot into Sapper. Onigiri, though, loses his fight through the hatch. Mark has to step up. A 1v2. There's no time. He knows the position at GDN, but that shotgun is good for another. And as quick as that, it's match point for W7M.
And how beautifully played was that from W7M? The philosophy that they shared with all of us in their intro video perfectly works out for them. Playing the patient game against Elevate, they don't need to get aggressive. Elevate, they're taking so much time, they're afraid. They misdroned out KZ. He was able to find the first pick, and then after that, it was all stagnant from them in the mid-round. And W7M, they're able to take another round, match point.
And no tactical timeout available for Elevate, still trailing by 3 rounds. They're going to need all the cheers you can give them. W7M woke up rearing and ready to go today. And they're not going to make this easy for Elevate.
Absolutely not. Now, if Trent would say, this has so far been an attacker-sided Kafe. Last time the Elevate were able to attack this basement bomb site, they did phenomenally. They choked out the positions of W7M and a clean sweep. And not much has changed in terms of the strategy for W7M either, committing plenty of utility over to this Freezer house drop side. 2 shields, a bunch of ADSs, a cacophony of utility that Elevate have to clear. How will they deal with it?
Well, they won't be bringing the Montaigne this time. Sapper on the Nomad instead. And so much of this comes down to the opening picks, doesn't it, Mandy? Whoever wins that engagement, whoever gets that fight on their side, it always tends to spiral.
Well, look at what W7M have done. They're afraid of that first pick this time. They're all sitting down in this ground floor aside from one on the white stairs. Elevate, they've been gifted the map control to themselves. KZ, he's the first to contest, but there's really no one there to support him. Elevate, if they can make this roam clear nice and swift, they have so many tools in their arsenal to make this execute work.
Now, they've let KZ off the leash, but for everyone else, it's staying on site. How much damage can he do? Because if he goes down without a fight, I can't help but think Elevate are on track for another dominating round. That said, W7M, they played it so well before. KZ in that aggressive position in shop was a one and done, but it was more than enough.
Double vertical pressure though. Oh no, not again, Elevate!
Could that be the devastating mistake that causes Elevate to lose this map? KZ misdroned. Mark, absolutely no clue. And this Wamai in the top floor will have to bide his time on this flank.
And look, Elevate, they're so busy. They've got this double vertical pressure of the buck and the sledge. They have no idea what is about to hit them.
Patience from KZ. He knows he's got to make an impact, but he knows not yet. It's not the time. It's not the place. Where can he get the most bang for the buck? Because if he goes down killless, Elevate are surely going to take this.
Vertical pressure, though, for Elevate. Someone just tucked in away behind that bakery kitchen. But the time is ticking away. Once again, W7M, what a read they have onto Elevate. They told us that Elevate plays slow, and KZ, now is his time.
It drops into Pillars. JV's come up as well. He goes down. Now the jig is up. Elevate know full well of this position of the Wamai. How much more damage can he do? Because meanwhile, Elevate's still pushing the side. It doesn't matter. Trade. 30 seconds now in the 3v3.
Kit on the ground as well will have to be retrieved by Sapper. Where are his teammates? DCH, he's pushing pressure through Bakery. It's going to be an onslaught from Elevate. 3 one-on-ones. Can they win it out?
A nade for DCH on Agiri. Takes down Volps. Numbers advantage Elevate, but there's no time. Hertz goes above. A risk. Such a big risk he makes. And GDN is the sole player on this side. He's taken down, but the diffuser is called on the ground. There is nothing Elevate can do. The rising stars of Brazil charge their way into map 2.
And what a match from W7M. Cool, calm, collected, not breaking a sweat against Elevate. They had their number. They had the read on the pace, the tempo. It was W7M all the way.
Dominating way to start that map. And an expert way to finish it. These guys are playmakers. You give them that opportunity. You miss drone. You let them slip between the cracks. And they will punish you for it. We'll be back for map 2 after this quick break.
Welcome back, friends, to the Major. We're live again in Berlin. We continue the action after map number 1. Fortunately, Elevate could not make it through. What a flank to close it out on map 1 in the series for W7M. And I want to pull it back to round number 1 here. Jesse and Jacob, of course, are wonderful analysts on the desk here to talk details. We talked about an Amaro rush maybe in the beginning, and here it is, round 1.
You suggested it, didn't you, Milo? She said maybe it might happen. We might see some rushes in this matchup, and we did start off with a great one from W7M. We see the POV from GDN. He's got the defuse kit. Amaro, not typically a planting operator, but GDN's going to use it in such a way. And look at the other operators they have on their field. They've got a gridlock to provide both smokes and track stingers to make it so difficult for other players to get back in and win this retake. They've got a Ying on the board as well to disorient the opponents, and make it so difficult for them to stop this from happening in the midst of things. The Warden ban as well, helping them out here so that they can go for this rush. It was a ban for Elevate, but still, W7M take full advantage of it. You see KZ's point of view of it now, throwing so many track stingers, and then how does he still be able to put up so much pressure? His teammates coming in with the kills. This was such a huge rush from W7M. You could tell they practiced this, and they executed it flawlessly.
It's not just a case where they decided, you know what, we're going to have one guy rush in and try to plant back in Fireplace. They had to have had enough top-floor drones to realize that it was a retake scenario from Elevate, and then enough utility themselves for when they finally made that push in order to block off all the different doorways. They had the gridlock there to ensure that nobody was about to come right back in as soon as the plant was being attempted, and they also knew there was nobody downstairs directly below in order for someone to then swing back onto the Amara before GDN makes that push directly into Fireplace. That kind of stuff is phenomenal when it works, but Elevate really did not seem prepared for that one.
Yeah, a bit shaky on it. Boys are in the back, of course, refreshing before we get ready for map number 2. Let's put up our composition for all of this, our scoreboard, the players, who played how, and what is their performance in this matchup. In our match summary, Gaze at the top, 8-6, not too shabby, but you're seeing W7M, great performance all across the board, Elevate in the same way. So just seeing it at 7-3, when you just even look at the scoreboard, it doesn't really tell the whole story, does it, Jacob?
I mean, ultimately, there were several flawless rounds from Elevate as they made their comeback, which means the stats do skew a little bit more when W7M don't have the same opportunities to get those frags back or to kind of pad their stats again to get back to even. Ultimately, they did, and Keys was the one that has the late flank at the very last second to clinch the map in W7M's favor. But this is what I was concerned about. Not just the fact that we saw a 5-round skid first for W7M. It's more like, what do you even do? If you have 5 rounds at that point, it's just Elevate waking up far too late. That seemed like land pressure. That seemed like stage pressure and not playing like themselves. And W7M, to their credit, were coming into this under the same caveat of not having that experience. Didn't seem like it bugged them.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the scoreboard, right? Like, one thing that really stands out, I think, in this game were the opening picks. So important, because every single time that we were seeing an opening pick come through, it was kill after kill after kill. You mentioned the flawless rounds, and that really comes off of that, right? When you've got so many players being able to capitalize off of those. I think in the early round, that was a big struggle for Elevate. We saw with the Roamers, we mentioned it ahead of time that, hey, this might be an area of struggle for them if they're on defense, if the Roamers can't get in the game. We really did see Herd starting to rip them apart there. DCH 0-3 on his entry.
Yike.
That's going to be punishing. And Onigiri started to heat it up. All right, Buck DMR, it works, I guess. But unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to bring them through for that second half.
Well, that was map number 1 in this series. Reminder, it is still best of 3, so you're going to have to look to the next one. And we talked about Kafe, how W7M have this advantage on it. We'll have the maps. Let's pull them up and bring them up on the screen again, just to refresh everybody's mind. 7-3 on the first map. That was Elevate's pick. We went to Kafe. They started attack. Didn't really work. Or defense, sorry. It didn't really work out too well. Now we are going to Bank. W7M, that is their pick. Historically, Brazil on Bank, an incredible region. W7M, they love to roam around and pick their opponents one by one. Are we going to see this?
I think we might. I mean, I think these teams went for very different map pick strategies, right? Elevate went for a map that both teams were very comfortable on for Kafe. W7M went for a map that both teams don't play all that much or don't have a great record. For Elevate, they have played it once all year long. It was a win over Cyclops back in the Stage 1 APAC Grand Finals. Yep. Been a very common ban for them recently. But for W7M, it's actually the only map they have a losing record on for this stage. Now, I think you made up a great point, Gassan, that, listen, they play in Brazil. Brazil's so good at Bank. So the fact that they have a losing record on Bank may say more about their opponents and less about their own skill here. I think we could be in a lot of trouble for Elevate taking a quick exit out of this tournament.
It's more that it was 100% ban rate in Stage 2 of APAC South. That, to me, is the curious thing. If you're going to keep on banning it after you tried it once in playoffs in Stage 1, and then you don't really have anything substantial to give to your opponents, it's not really a big deal for a lot of teams. But for us, you look at this and you look at the tape, if there is any of it that exists, and that's a much bigger factor than a lot of people give it credit for. The only problem is that they've only played it the one time, and you have to hope, you got to hope, that they were scrimming it in the back line, which technically I do have Elevate's assurances from just walking through the back that they've been scrimming on this, and they really have a lockdown plan. The only problem is that good enough to beat Brazil?
Aha. So do you see, very quickly, because we've got to go to a short break here, but are we expecting a map 3 or not?
At the moment, no. At the moment, I don't see it.
I don't think so. I mean, W7M looks so good. They're the favorites. Maybe if some people in the crowd can give them some energy, maybe.
You got some Elevate fans in here also wearing the jerseys. That's exactly what we want to see. So that is it from us preparing you for our next map bank between W7M and Elevate. Will we see a map 3 or not? That's the question we ask. We'll take a couple minutes off, and then it'll be directly onto our casters, Mandy and James. So we'll see you in just a moment.
We are back, and W7M are 1-0 up in the series over Elevate. What a dominating first map. Elevate had a couple of good rounds, a couple of flawless ones, but W7M, they've shown why the hype is real. They are shown why they are one of the top contenders for the title of this major.
And now we're going into map 2. This is W7M's map pick. This is Bank. We have never seen Elevate play Bank. Even here, we're APAC Southcasters, and this is brand new to us. So I cannot wait to see what they bring out on the server.
We don't know what to expect from Elevate. From W7M, they've played this map quite a lot, and as Jesse mentioned on the desk, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe not so good. It's been inconsistent on this map. They lost it in the Copa Elite. They haven't played it yet, though, at the Berlin Major. So they've been working hard to prepare for this oh-so-important quarterfinal. W7M have never made it past quarters. In fact, they've only been to an event like this just one time in Charlotte. And now it is time for them to show why it is W7M season. We're going into Bank. It is W7M's map pick, and Elevate are on their last legs. If you want to see APAC in the semis, you better cheer now, because W7M are bringing the heat.
Bank is the map pick of choice. The battlefield, the final straw for Elevate to stay in this series. And they'll be starting out on the attack.
In APAC, we attack. Elevate. Got to bring the fire from the get-go. This has been an attackers series so far, so dominantly. Defense on Kafe, usually pretty strong, was not so earlier today in map 1. That Japan to come through straight away. W7M on the left side of your screens looking so very chill.
Second ban to come through is Finker.
Everyone loves a good Finker ban.
Everyone loves a good Finker ban. The LMG T banned out, taking away the operator of choice, typically for KZ on the side of W7M, forced to pick something else now.
Didn't seem to slow him down on map 1. KZ started phenomenally. The rest of the team ended up winning the game based on playmaking, flanking, getting misdroned. W7M know how to make these calculated plays. That is their specialty.
Now this is a pretty fascinating ban phase if you ask me. Hibana's been left in, all of your range hard breaches in. Maverick is left in, that Thermite's left in for the server wall. Same thing on the defense, Mira's in, Goyo's still in. Azami, though, being taken out, does take away some of that flexibility from the defense, but once again, we have another map where all the tools are on the cards.
Blank slate here for Elevate. They choked their own map pick. They struggled on the defense. Now they start on the attack against W7M's map. We have not seen Bank from Elevate in God knows how long. What have they been cooking up for us?
W7M starting out on the defense and leaning into this Kaid pick as well. Thatcher's been banned out, but Kaid has been left in. And what that means is that some of these hatches are going to be very tricky to open if Elevate don't flex onto the Maverick.
And for now, they are indeed not changing. The Twitch also picked off. We've got a Ying, we've got a Monty, we've got the Dockerby. Surely there's something a bit special here Elevate are bringing.
Now Elevate, where are you? What is the point of attack? And there it is, Sapper now. The Monty Shield are making his way towards this garage push. The rest of Elevate start their way around these north side rappels, perhaps looking for that roam clear, but W7M, there is none.
No roam. Heavy anchor utility. The Warden. Elevate banned on Kafe. W7 immediately pick here.
W7M once again playing the same philosophy that they taught us about. Elevate, they take it slow, they take it steady, and W7M want to punish that. That's why they've put so much of this utility, so much of the pressure left on the site, just holding on to blue stairs. They don't care about open area. Those hatches are staying closed for now. Now the waiting game. Just being patient.
Claw to go down on the vault hatch. The real question is, where's Mark with his ex-Kairos, and what will he be prioritizing? For now, Elevate have been fairly slow. They haven't even cleared the blue stairs. Herds here is about to feel that Monty.
We know, though, Mr. Punch, he's just made his way into the building along with Oni, starting to make his way through the top floor as well. DCH. The roam clear has only just started, Dev. There's only about a minute, 30 seconds left, and this blue control is still being hurled for Herds. The IGL of this team.
Oh, aggressive play from Herds. Pushed onto by the Monty, but he fights back immediately. Look at that aggression. He's unafraid. And they immediately push in, but the backup is there. KZ with the support. Herds finally goes down. The KZ made it worth their while.
Being forced to fall off now, the hatch starting to get open in server, but Elevate have wasted much time going through this top floor. There wasn't even any contest, there wasn't even any roam, but W7M hold on to this site.
And this hatch, still sealed. Still giving an advantage to W7M to play aggressively inside of that bomb site. KZ, though, gets taken down. DCH, his impact felt as the Monty of Sapper waltzes directly into sight.
The tandem. Sapper helping DCH make his way in the smoke to cover as well. Elevate. What does this execute?
Oh my God, Sapper,
Oh, no.
He's right up in their face. Can he take this 1v1 with the Warden? A dangerous game to play. Mark is getting that diffuser down. Sapper goes out. He has been eliminated, but he distracted the Warden for long enough to let that plant go down. 3v3 now, and Elevate have the post plant. Up on the hatches. W7M must retake.
W7M now still sitting in that basement site. Oni to be the one to cover the flank. Does he have info? Yes, he does. Peek to come through the double door. Onigiri, he can land some of his shots, but he's got to find more. He's got to find more if he wants to find the kill.
my
Now
God.
W7M, two players doubling down. Onigiri!
Onigiri with the DMR name, a more dynamic duo. JV, he can't get it done. It's Elevate.
Elevate finally here, showing up in that first round. What a dominant attack that was. W7M. W7M had given away the entire map to Elevate. They wanted to play the slow game. They wanted to wait and try and punish Elevate, but Elevate, they had none of that. They had none of it. They played the Monty into it. They pressed the attack onto those anchor positions and punishing KZ, punishing JV in those aggressive positions, and Elevate is still here to play.
They certainly are, and they continue this trend of this match being an attacker's paradise. Now onto the top floor, W7M not having that Azami on their side. Usually so potent on this bomb site.
I don't mind this from W7M. They're still making use of this castle barricade along with the Maestro holding onto the site once again. Very anchor-centric from them, bar the Vigil pick from JV. Not looking for anything too special regarding off the site, but just simply setting up, constructing this site to allow for those 1.5 times and those 2x scopes to fight these long angles. We can see Volps, he's on the Rook. He's got the license to frag out.
A good Rook player can make all kinds of difference. They land their shots, tap some heads with that 2x scope. KZ as well with the 1.5 on the MP5K. A dangerous weapon in the hands of a Wamai or a Mute player. Elevate, though, shaping up around the lobby. This could be something a little bit different.
And Onigiri as well, with a very peculiar pick.
Oh, you want to talk about
Carly.
scopes? Mm-hmm. It doesn't get much more zoomed in than that.
Mark, though, with that range hard breach in his hand, he can make use of this Kanto angle if he would like to. Immediately, Sapper, though, on the Ossa, starting out on these North Repels. It seems like Elevate, they're looking to choke out this defense of W7M. They know that they're anchoring, and it's simply about playing these windows, making way for the Ossa shield to get in and push down and execute, push down the plants.
There is Onigiri clearing. Eliminating as much utility as possible. Peekaboo. Their impacts, though, KZ destroys the first of the two Ossa shields. The second one pinged out. He doesn't have an impact left to clear it.
Elevate once again looking to punish the mistakes of W7M. We saw one almost go punished, but Sapper, he had his Ossa shield out instead. Kanto will now open up, choking out this defense of W7M. Volps, though, he gets aggressive.
Oh! Onigiri just misses his shot, barely. He's got this long line of sight open in the Kanto wall. He can see deep all the way through that hallway. But still, no blood has been drawn.
And this is a little bit something different from Elevate. They're actually amounting for a lobby side attack instead. Do W7M have the read on it? There are no plays that are going to be in this square position. JV not contributing to this defense anymore. And Mr. Punch taking away one bit of intel to telegraph their push.
JV on for the flank. We've seen flanks be deadly. And here it is once again. The young gunner takes out the other young gunner. Can Onigiri trade it? Feels so much pressure. Mark, he steps up. But once again, W7M recompose. A flash to go through. Mark needs this to count.
Hertz, though, he's able to collect one more back onto DCH. Now left in the 2 versus 4 situation. It's Elevate. He gets aggressive. He finds a second. Volps to find the third and final player of Elevate. And W7M take another round.
Elevate just could not sink their teeth into that attack. Nice ideas shaping up around the site, long lines of sight, but W7M, they're so in sync, and as soon as they make a play, they're all there, side by side, ready to go together.
But that's the W7M formula, don't you think so? They've dialed it back on this defense. They're playing it slow, but they know exactly when to pounce onto Elevate. They know when the comms are cluttered for Elevate, when things aren't going their way, that is the time to strike. And when they all do it in tandem together, we saw JV go for his flank. The same time Volps goes aggressive on the Kanto Repel. The same time Hertz gets aggressive onto the North Repels. That is a neural network that W7M have got, this team, the flow between all of them. And it's really throwing off Elevate.
That said, it's early days here in Map 2. For Elevate, though, they can't really afford to have a slow start like they did on Kafe. They came out of the gates the first round here, but they need to deliver a lot more than that. We've seen how strong W7M are on this attacking side, so when they eventually do switch, they will be in the advantage. It's just a matter of racking up as many rounds for the Brazilians as they can before that switch happens.
Still early days, though. It's only been 2 rounds, and Elevate are well and truly still in it. They look in much better form at the moment. Big use out of that Twitch drone as well. Immediately taking down the 2 mute jammers on that quad wall opens up the possibility for a bottom square take for them. Oni also putting pressure directly onto the site, alerting these W7M players.
Do you play site? Do you play roam? Bit of A, bit of B. That's W7M right now. They have to feel out where this Elevate pressure is coming from. And here's a big one from Mark. He's gone downstairs into server, coming up blue.
And this has been beautifully set up by Elevate as well. Looks like they're going to go for that quad wall take, but they know that that flank, stopping that flank, is mission critical to their push. Same thing with this Telus control too. If they try to get the quad wall open and that window's open, they're taken down, bam, their push is over. They're taking their time. They're doing their due diligence and the steps needed as a team.
Sapper spots out JV. JV rips that C4 to scare off the player on the other side. Can he land the shots needed? Onigiri taken low on the long angle by the SMG-11. Elevate starting to put that pressure.
Mark now, knowing that this Telus player has been scared off by Sapper, will start to get that quad wall open. It's actually still jammed out. Those mute jammers, they've been replaced.
Can DCH sneak his Twitch drone back in there is the question. He's not on at the minute. Mr. Punch, though, Donate over the top, takes out the mute jammer and takes GDN low. Can he hold on? KZ up for the flank.
Playing a bit of a bait and switch, though.
And Mr. Punch, he's so aware. He spots the player, but the flick! It's a trade. And Elevate send it into sight. 4v3 for the Thai team. Sapper to force that diffuser down. Volps has got to make this flank count, but he can't even secure the kill. It's just him and Hertz left, and Elevate. They storm the site, and they play passive in the post plan. Hertz, 1v4, but he's got this Monty to deal with. Not likely to happen. Full information from Sapper. What a terrible position he finds himself in. Elevate have done this round justice oh so well. Nice effort there from Hertz. It's a 1v2, but surely there is not time to secure this. 7 seconds it takes to defuse, and it's just not going to happen. Elevate, once again taking the lead here.
One more kill left for Elevate, but only 3 seconds for W7M. DCH rounding the corner now, but it doesn't matter anyway. Elevate. They win it out in the post plan.
A solid effort there from W7M to Elevate. Play that to perfection.
I love the way that Elevate were able to put the pressure onto W7M there. They set up every possible cutoff, every way that they could to prevent those W7M players from retaking back into the site, retaking that critical part where the bomb was going down from Sapper.
Once upon a time, Elevate, I don't know whether it was a joke or not, but they said every time they peak and die in the man advantage, they dock their salary. I think it was a joke. I hope it was a joke. Because Elevate knew that their weakness was seceding advantages, and now they've learned the restraint needed. They made sure that even if they were to die one by one in that round, it would be for naught. There would be no time for Hertz to clutch it. But now W7M actually retrying that exact same site.
They're going down to the basement instead.
Oh, my bad.
Lockers and CCTV, you got baited.
I got baited with it.
Got
He was
baited.
reinforcing the okay. I got baited.
They're playing a much more different philosophy, however. They're going, all right, we're sick of sitting on this site. These Elevate players, they've got our number now. They're turning it up. We need to roam. Hertz, he's been given the Oryx license, making his way now into this ground floor, immediately contesting the Elevate roam clear.
The thing with W7M, there's never just one player. There's always someone else close behind to support. That's KZ at the top of blue stairs. Elevate have got to play their cards right here. We know that the damage that these fraggers can do on the W7M side.
And Elevate, with the aid of that Dokkaebi logic bomb, they could be set up very well for this roam clear if they decide to go for it. But my question is, where's Sapper? Where's the entry coming out from? Because as of now, it's very quiet from these players of Elevate. They're actually making their way over to lobby.
Is this a real bit of a relocation for Elevate? Onigiri to try out Garage. DCH and Mark are droning the lobby. And you're right, this is a little bit unorthodox.
W7M, though, they seem to have a relatively good read of this push of Volps. He's just taken down a drone coming through that lobby position, and Hertz will be the first to contest. But Mr. Punch, he can take him down.
And you know what? That's the operator that you want to knock over that Montaigne. And he's been taken down.
Elevate now, successfully done with the roam clearing, can start to work through this mid-round. The Hibana Palace, those Ex-Kairos can go from the hatches that they need, but once again, Kaid is in play. Some of those hatches will have to stay closed for Elevate. They only have so many options.
And maybe one in this Garage fight. DCH just gets Twitch drone into sight. Does get taken down eventually. GDN ready for it. You can see W7M. They seem prepared for a push like this. And Mark is able to get one of these hatches open. The Twitch drone's doing some real work on the site, but eventually taken out. This is a dangerous play from Elevate, and down goes Sapper. Oh, a big pick. And Onigiri to double up. Sapper, what is going on? W7M, where is your reply? JV with a C4, 1 HP, and that is just not happening. Elevate, a Voltrop, the Monty, everything. I got a feeling we got some Elevate fans in the house.
Yeah, we certainly do. Elevate fans in the house. What a beautiful attack from Elevate that time. They saw the roamers. They were on the other side of the map. They were holding on, telegraphing that square push, and they said, nah, we're not going to contest this. We're going to find them on the cutoff instead. Making their way through the lobby, perfectly entried alongside with Sapper.
And Sapper has made a role change recently. We've talked a lot about this. He's gone on to entry. We're seeing something even different now. It's on that Montaigne.
And off the back of that loss as well, W7M, they're taking their tactical timeout.
We can see Elevate having a chat about it as well. They are down in the series. It might be up in the map, but they're down in the series. They lost their map pick. They went to Kafe thinking maybe it would throw W7M off. Fortunately, though, they were prepared for Bank. It's clear to see.
And this resurgence in the server, I mean, It just goes to show Elevate's character, their personalities. Fighting, that's what we say in APAC, fighting. And that's the energy that they're bringing into this server as well. Even though they're down 1 map, they are still up 2 rounds here and they're not giving their win away. They will not go down quietly.
They certainly won't. And W7M are not going to give up here on Bank. They go back to the top floor bomb site where they won so dominantly prior. Elevate could not keep up.
This was a tough one for Elevate. Last time W7M, they were able to coordinate the aggression together. It wasn't just 1 or 2, but 3 of the W7M players. They were able to find some excellent timing on the players of Elevate. That entry, that wasn't as cautious last time, but from what we've seen of Elevate's attack, they're looking a lot better on these entries. They're looking a lot more careful, a lot more cautious. And W7M, they have to give them the respect for it.
They do. There's a couple of changes on the W7M side too. And one of them is the pure number of impacts that they have brought. There's still 6 in pocket to deal with the Ossa that Elevate previously brought. And guess what? It's not here this time.
Elevate.
2 people still didn't get their armor. What?
Elevate, though, they've changed up the push a little bit. They're not looking for this lobby take. You can see KZ. He's checking this lobby side, checking if anyone's on that parking repel, but he's going to be met by no one because Elevate, they've actually averted that crisis and they're going to do a square side take instead. Mr. Punch now joining himself into the ground floor inside of staff room open area while the rest of the players make their way around this top floor.
And once again, this Monty is a feature of Elevate's attacks. Zappa might not have any kills yet, but his impact has been profound.
Now with Sapper, the presence inside of the building, it's turning away the attention of W7M. We can see Herds on the other side. He's facing him. No one holding on to Janitor as well. There's so much space being given to Elevate.
Yeah, this walking drone waltzes on forward. You got to wonder what's going on here for W7M. There's no player below at the C4 either. Mr. Punch has that up. This is such a heavy roam.
What a gorgeous attack as well from Elevate. Utilizing that Monty to get all the intel and mark as well, following up with the drone. Meanwhile, Mr. Punch, he's down below in the ground floor, ready to cut off any W7M players. Some info going through the wall, but it's actually Onigiri to find the first pick of this round. Onigiri to find the second onto Volps.
He doubles down. Mr. Punch feeling a bit of pressure. The 2 flankers come up the main stairs. Surely Elevate are ready for this. We've had the Monty in the hallway this whole time. DCH finds one, but is traded. Position revealed of both of these W7M players. Elevate have such an advantage here.
JV looking to take the fight onto Onigiri, and he wins it out now. 2 versus 3 situation advantage. Elevate Hertz to claw back a second.
Hang on a second. Advantage has certainly flipped. W7M in the 2v4 now. A 2v1, and it's just Sapper on the Monty. Not a very enviable position. Can he land this shot enough to make it a 1v1? That would be winnable. Oh, surely not. The trade is perfect for W7M. What a 2v4.
Gorgeously played from the final remaining members of W7M. They knew they had to get aggressive and Elevate. They weren't holding that crossfire. Mr. Punch, he was just so close to being able to cut off those roamers coming back up the main stairs. DCH was able to collect one, but not the second. And in the end, the W7M defense, it was frantic, it was chaos. But that's what they thrive in.
Yeah, they do love the chaos. Quite a strange one. Full roaming when the site is upstairs. Fortunately, W7M have the raw talent that's required to make moments like that count in the 2v4. You got to back them in.
I don't know if I back in W7M yet, Dev. I'll tell you what. Elevate, they've mounted some beautiful attacks so far. Even that attack, the attempt was so wonderful. Sapper, he put the pressure onto the site. He forced the W7M players to come back. Mr. Punch, he just missed the cutoff, but DCH was able to take one back. It felt like the pieces were coming together, and Onigiri on the rappel, it all looked like it was going to work out. I can't imagine they're rattled by that last round. That was so close.
Well, neither team can afford to be rattled here. Particularly Elevate, down 1 map. They're the ones who need to make a statement on Bank. And they're the ones who have a shot going 4-2 on their attacking half. They need to lock in this round. W7M have not made it easy. Most of these rounds have been so tightly contested. And once again, Elevate bringing that Montaigne.
W7M, they're not going to make it easy this round either. They've done a very extended hold through all 3 floors. They've got the castle barricades to aid the top floor. They've got the Oryx to hop through the hatches. Not only that, but Volps, he sat himself in the basement. They're ready for every point of entry that Elevate might have.
Look at the roamers down below. This is previously free real estate for Elevate. Not so this round. Bit of presence on the lobby side. There's so much map control to take, isn't there?
Yeah. That being said, though, Elevate, they're doing a 2-pronged attack here. They've got 2 players coming in from the lobby side, while the rest of their teammates go in from the square side instead. Trying to divide the attention of the W7M players, catch them off guard. Have them solve the puzzle of this attack. Mr. Punch making his way in with the Nook.
Oh, big pick from JV. And the youngest player in the server, Mr. Punch, humbled.
Sapper, though, he's making his way into bottom square instead, given the estate as W7M players. They're not contesting inside of that teller's window anymore, just one on the bottom of the blue stairs.
Elevate struggling for information in archives as well. This Legion pick also making it a bit slower for Sapper. He spots the Legion. Ooh, he eats an impact as well. That's a lot of damage. And he falls on back. May well spot out that there are 2 roamers in this position. Oh no! You can't afford to do that, Sapper. You can't afford to let W7M back in it.
But look at this from DCH. He's already got control of top square. The wall is open as well. Can he just hit the sites? The site mostly empty for now, and they have info on the 1 anchor left in the corner of office.
Elevate need a miracle. Down in the 3v5, they need a lifeline. GDN is on his drone, gets off. Now he's ready to hold on to the push, but here comes Volps. Goes for the flank, but JV's got it covered. Onigiri to now try and push back into square. Does get Volps. JV still in archives. A 2v4.
Mark and Onigiri to link arms in this 2 versus 4 situation, but W7M players just surrounding them like vultures. KZ, he can connect the shots onto Onigiri. Now Mark in the 1 versus 4, taken down by Hertz.
Nice way to tie up the scoreline. W7M started slow. They stole away a 2v4, and now they've locked in the even half. On the back of their tactical pause, they have been able to achieve so much.
And that was just such a gorgeous defense as well from W7M. They really corrected the mistakes of the last time they defended. They held on to every single floor onto this basement. We saw Volps in tandem with one of his teammates able to crossfire onto that blue position, holding on to tellers as well, since Elevate had telegraphed that quad wall take instead. The adaptation from them has been excellent, but now they go into their attacking half instead.
And W7M won 5 of their 6 attacks on Kafe. And traditionally, Bank is even more attacker-sided of a map. W7M could finish it right here, right now, and book their spot in the semis for the first time ever. There are names like FaZe Clan, Ninjas in Pajamas, Team Liquid that are associated with Brazilian Rainbow Six. But there is just one rising team where the organization also hails from Brazil, and that is W7M. And that is a prideful moment that they staked their hopes on, that they could make it to the semifinals, that they could be major champions like Team Liquid, like Team One, and like FaZe before them.
Elevate, they're starting us out on this basement bomb site. Looking to lean into the plant denial, the late round denial, the combination of the Goyo canisters, C4, smoke canisters, holding onto those blue stairs for as long as they possibly can. Very light roam as well, not too heavy from the side of Elevate, essentially giving W7M the space that they need to clear through the first 2 floors.
And so much space given. And with that Maverick as well, any potential utility that they could come across will be cleared so easily. You've got the nades for the Vulcan canisters, for the shields. There's no Kaid picked here by Elevate, so the Hibana can easily open up these hatches.
And W7M, they've just made such quick work of this entire map. There's still 2 whole minutes left of this round. The hatches are already starting to get opened. Drones are being sent out through blue. They have so much time to work with here.
And when it comes to burning out that utility, like the smoke, like the Vulcan canisters of the Goyo, W7M will have plenty of time. But one thing they do need to do is deal with Mr. Punch inside of blue stairs. Sapper also aggressive here in elevator, but it's blue stairs that could be the linchpin.
But look at what W7M have done to Elevate. They've opened up every single possible hatch with all their hard breach. They've divided the players of Elevate. Look how spread out this defense is now. If W7M just pick one area to consolidate their plays and play the refrags, there will be no Elevate players to trade.
Oh, Mark, got to be careful about peeking that one. GDN's found the opening pick and Herds to collapse on server. W7M are just everywhere all at once. They're in the side as well. Mr. Punch flashed, he finds the kill, and Onigiri comes to life in Garage. Mr. Punch traded, but DCH to step up. It's a 2v2. And now Onigiri, he detonates the Vulcan canister. It could be exactly what he needed. Herds to force that diffuser down. Volp's a nice flash, but here comes DCH. Plant denied. It's all on Herds, and he just can't do it. Elevate, get it done.
Elevate, they hop right back off that horse on the same page. That W7M push, that was multifaceted. That was difficult to get the read on it. Us in the top down, we didn't know what W7M were going to do. We didn't know where the first point of attack was going to be. But Elevate, they're not rattled. They're composed. They take the 1 versus 1s, even flashed Mr. Punch at the bottom of blue stairs. The timing he found on that shotgun shot was perfect. And Elevate, they are still in this.
They certainly are. Now they've taken the lead here. They've shown they have some metal on their defense, which was the concern for them on map 1.
Elevate, though, they're going to take us up to this top floor bomb site. They're not going to lean into this castle either, it seems like. Just trying to play this double site construction, opening up long lines of sight. Seems to be the new thing to do on this top floor.
Yeah, but you know what seems to be the new thing? The Montaigne. Elevate kept bringing it, and here comes GDN. I believe this is the first Monty we've seen from W7M.
And just looking at the replays now, look how beautifully Elevate played these one-on-ones. We thought that W7M, they had a multifaceted attack. We thought they were going to be able to take the 1v1s onto Elevate, but you don't take 1v1s onto Elevate. Those guys are sharp. The mechanical prowess really had to show up there in that last defense, and now they're backing themselves into this top floor as well. They're not playing any late game denial, no nothing. That's just loads of MPXs, 1.5 times actually Onigiri's running the AUG, but they're backing themselves in to take some fights on this top floor.
Yeah, there's not a gun on this Elevate roster that you wouldn't say has the capability to win any fight. But in terms of the util game, here comes the Twitch, and it's made mincemeat of all the util on site.
W7M shaping around the bomb site now, 2 players on this North Rappel. Trying to catch any Elevate players off guard that might be rotating between the sides. But Elevate, they haven't given them anything yet.
Mark keen to peek these long angles with the 1.5. That MX4 Storm is a mean machine. But W7M are hitting some nasty repels. Surely, Mark, watching this angle. Cautious the drones, though.
Uh-oh, and Mark and some of these plays on the top floor, they could have bad times coming their way. A grenade to follow through from JV. Sapper, is he protected? The ADS doesn't catch it, but he manages to sneak away anyway.
Yeah, that's going to enable such a huge breach there for W7M, and Sapper forced back into the elevator. Here comes the Monty, though, up the banana stairs.
Strange push from W7M. They're using the Monty to make their way up the spiral stairs. A lobby-sided take. But Elevate, look at the crossfire that these guys have got. They've got Sapper inside of meeting. They've got a player inside the elevator.
Oh.
But hang on a second. Hertz has just stuck his way to the bomb site.
Hertz, he was meant to be our savior, said W7M, but Elevate. They shut down this push. And that Monty, so cautious of the crossfire. Sapper in the elevator. Mark on the balcony. DCH moving in as well to support. W7M desperate now. Numbers disadvantage, and it's just getting worse by the minute. Elevate in the 4v1. It's all on Volps.
Flashes to go out onto Elevate, making his way up the main stairs now, but look at all the lines of sight being shown. Look at the crossfires. Elevate now getting aggressive, feeling confident in their tempo, in their moment.
Oh, nice down there for Volps. A star player for W7M, but Elevate have been marching for 1 round away from match point.
How beautifully was that played from Elevate? Sapper, he was the cornerstone of that defense. He knew that for them to win that round, he had to stay there for as long as possible. He didn't take the fights aggressively. He didn't try and peek someone in the parking rappel. He just sat there patiently. The grenade followed through, but he knew that his teammates were there to back him up. Mark, he almost got backstabbed, but he didn't. He did the 180. He took down Herds. And that 3-way crossfire that Elevate held onto oh so patiently, they take down W7M, and now 1 round away from match point.
Oh, just look at that. The confidence from Mr. Punch to play for the 1-for-1 on the jump out. Elevate. That'll put a smile on their dial. Victory fist pumps, this team. Starting slow on map 1, but they have found their rhythm.
Elevate taking us over to staff room and open area on Agiri. He's been given the Oryx card.
Ugh.
Now, I love Oryx on this bomb site. Don't you think so? There are hatches everywhere for him to make use of. There are 2, 3 actually that come up from the basement, so you can mount any flank that he wants to. Hatches on the top floor as well. He can retake the top floor, retake that vertical. It's just so enabling for a player like Onigiri on this bomb site.
A player like Onigiri, who has made a name for himself on this stage before, currently top fragging in the server despite not being the highlight of this tournament for his team. But he knows what it's like to play on a stage like this. He knows what it's like to push through ultimate adversity.
Oh, and Sapper. Look at what Sapper is trying to do to W7M. Uh-oh. Missed drone. Actually has been droned out on this top square stairs and taken down by Volps.
Caught in 4K and taken out. Good start there for W7M. Opening picks have been so impactful this game. But Elevate can't afford to secede this map control. It's hard not to when W7M have as much information as they do. We're seeing the 0 come through. That's giving the gift of info to W7M as they start to hunt down these roamers. Here's an Elevate player in the elevator hallway. JV with some good cover to hide behind. Trying to force out this fight. He knows there's a player in that corner. Oh, and the nade. Perfect teamwork. KZ from above.
Now W7M full top floor control for them in the hands, but Herds.
Oh my God.
He can take down Onigiri as well and miss the punch. He's able to claw one back though. 2 versus 4 situation.
It's a tough one. Mr. Punch needs to land some serious shots here with the SMG-11. An aggressive position. Is he going to get re-peaked? Does a bit of damage to Volts, but it's not enough. Taking refuge on the soft wall is dangerous business. And W7M have so much side control, they hunt him down. So well played, all on DCH, and that's not happening. W7M only trailing by 1 round.
And look at that restraint that W7M have on their roam clear as well. They don't get overzealous. They're giving the respect to these Elevate players on this roam clear. KZ, he didn't even want to take the fight. He had to throw in a grenade to flush him out, and JV on the cutoff was perfect from them. Same thing on that final push in the plays inside of Tellers as well. They waited for that vertical pressure to come through. They didn't take the one-on-one fights. And W7M know that they have to give that respect to Elevate.
They do. They found out the hard way. And when they do respect Elevate, when they do work together, use their numbers advantage, that is when Elevate fall apart. No mistakes can be allowed. And when you lose a player as early as Elevate did with Sapper, it's just a gift to W7M. It's a chance for them to overrun you with their numbers, to work together.
Elevate, they're going to be taking us down to the basement bomb site. Not too much has changed in terms of the strategy. Once again, leaning into the Goyo canisters. Oni, given the Aruni DMR the license to go frag out once again. But for W7M, what is the play for them on this attack? Are they going to go for this one-to-one attack, or can they finally give the respect to Elevate? Will they consolidate their plays on the attack and have to play these refrags because, well, these Elevate plays are on it?
They are. But W7M have been doing such a good job of roam clearing. They've made so much headway with so much time to spare when attacking this basement site. And you can see as the drones start to move through the map, Elevate, not there to contest, not there to shoot a drone and fall back. And that's given, within 30 seconds, W7M full open area control.
And Volps, he's even switched off the Hubana. He knows that he only needs to get open these two hatches here if they want to go for a server push, and those hard breach charges will do just that.
What are W7M going to be able to do here? Pushing down the main stairs, Hertz, skeleton key out. Cautious of any aggression on this flank watch. Elevate going for a full turtle strategy, but as so many hatches are opened, it's hard to know where this push will come from.
But once again, if W7M do this 5-way push, the 5-way 1-to-1 entry, are they really going to win it out against these Elevate players? What are W7M going to do? Will they consolidate their attack? And it seems like they will. Yin cancel it a go, and it looks like KZ, he's putting his focus on the blue push instead.
Volps is going to come and support. There's no Warden. You better hope that the ADSs can be wasted. A drone to clear the gate. The Candela surely to follow. Mr. Punch to prevent the push in with some gas. How much time can he delay?
One's already been burnt. He's only got 2 more in the hands, and Hertz, he's coming in through dirt tunnel for the pinch.
It's going to have to be a backstab. Mark is actually hiding in server. Mr. Punch covers his back, but Hertz wins the fight in server. How much damage can Mr. Punch do? None at all. A down onto Volps, but it's not enough, and now there's a whole minute left for W7M to finish up.
1 minute left, but still some utility in the hands of Sapper with that 1C4. The wall getting open now as well for the execute. Oni, he feels the need to get aggressive onto this hatch, down the man advantage.
Very difficult position here for Elevate. The Candelas go through. And the final one as well from Volps. The plant is going down. Where is the denial on Agiri? Can he land the shots? The plant is denied, but Volps comes down from the main stairs and immediately trades it on back. 2v4 makes it a 1v4 now for Sapper. This is a tall order. And W7M tie the scoreline.
W7M giving the respect that Elevate deserve in this matchup. This time, they consolidated all their players into this blue push. They knew they had to take down Mr. Punch if they wanted to go for the server attack. Same thing, the IGL Hertz says, wait up guys, I need to make my way through dirt tunnel first so I can come for the pinch. He wins a fight to server, and well, W7M, they're able to take out the round.
2 rounds from the semi-finals are W7M right now. They have been working so hard over the last 9 months. From almost relegation to making it to 2 consecutive majors and potentially their very first semi-final. They're so close they can taste it. But Elevate are also just 1 round from map point. And they're actually going to go straight back to the basement to try and right their wrongs.
Elevate, they want to have a conversation about this series. They are not going to go down without a fight, taking us back down to the basement. The philosophy changed for Elevate as well. They're bringing along the Vigil on Mark instead. No more holding on to these blue stairs. Looking to stagnate the roam clear of W7M.
Yeah, that's it. Every round, W7M have just been so good at taking that map control. And Elevate have decided, look, it's about time we change that. It's about time we take the fight to them.
And look at that, even reinforcements being dedicated to this ground floor, this holding meeting that Oni is going to be holding on to. Mark still on the top of the main stairs, but where is the push from W7M? Entry from JV as well as KZ through the lobby.
Mark needs to have an impact here on his roam. W7M tempted with the idea of just pushing straight onto the side. It's Hertz. He's done some damage in server before. And as he rounds this corner, it could be do or die for the Elevate player on the other side. DCH must hold his ground.
But he's got some barbed wire to help him out. He will hear when Hertz goes for the push, and so Hertz, he has no choice but to sit and to wait for his teammates to try and pressure out these roamers. Volps will be the first point of contest.
Trying to clear out. Oh my God, what an angle, what a trade. JV and DCH immediately back, but Onigiri as well. He's been a menace here inside of open area. Mark to support as well. Elevate low on players on site. Is W7M going to be able to do something about it?
Herd's starting to sneak his way in through server. I just heard a no from the crowd.
You guys don't reckon?
You don't reckon? Elevate, they've got the hold on this round for now. 1 minute and 20 seconds left for W7M to try and collect up the pieces, but look at Elevate. They are still holding on to that ground floor, and they are looking down the hatches, anticipating that W7M are going to try and hit the site. How well read is that from them?
Oh, but Hertz, he's snuck his way into server. He's got some long angles. Oh my god. Sees the pixel of Sapper. Not able to confirm the kill though. KZ sneaking back into Garage does some damage. But these W7M players are so separated.
They absolutely are, and they have absolutely no idea where the remaining Elevate players are. The drones, there's not enough time. Onigiri, he takes the fight onto Hertz. The shots do connect.
KZ's got to have an impact here. He's found his second kill of the round. The sledge coming in, and he's shut down. It's all on GDN. But do Elevate know where he is? He's snuck behind enemy lines. In the gold vault. Making his rotation. 20 seconds to work with here. Gun at his side, but he's getting pushed. There's information. And Elevate know exactly how to play this. And there's Onigiri, the monster himself. Map point for Elevate.
Elevate. How great was that defense from them? The crowd cheering on Onigiri, a pivotal player in that round, playing that roam game to perfection, linking arms with Mark. They held on to that top floor and ground floor for such a long time. They forced W7M to try something different. They tried to make their way into the site, but the anchors, they were perfect. And Onigiri plays the retake to perfection. He came down the blue stairs at exactly the right timing. He fights Garage at exactly the right timing. It's just so gorgeous, Onigiri.
14 kills for Onigiri, 6 deaths. He's outshining even Herds from W7M. But this is a team game after all. Both of these teams have been bringing the heat. They've been so in sync. They've been so ready for everything their opponent throws at them. And right now it's going to be Elevate going to that top floor.
And Elevate, they're really starting to find the momentum in this series as well. Everything that they've done linking arms, they've done together. Last time they played this top floor bomb site, W7M, they pushed into a 3-way crossfire into Elevate. These players are so restrained. They know that they need the teamwork to take down a team like W7M. And that's exactly what they've been able to do.
Perhaps an early sneak through the garage, get into the map for KZ. Last time around, Elevate. They did so well. Oh my god, look at this, an early jump out. DCH, how do you do it? GDN is going to try and trade this back. DCH trapped outside. It's just a matter of wasting time. But a big player to take out. Surely a quick pre-fire will finish this off, but just the time being wasted.
And what is this from DCH? He's outside the building. But W7M, they're so afraid. They haven't even taken the fight onto him yet. GDN, he's finally making face, but look at the time wasted.
JV, surely he needs to help the Monsi. GDN's been taken low. DCH outside the building, still remaining in this corner. W7M so terrified. Elevate. They stand tall once again. It's a 4v3. Finally, DCH taken out.
Just look at the fear that's instilled into the minds of these W7M players. Elevate, they're everywhere. They try and get into the site, but there's an Elevate player there. They can't even fight outside of the building. Now GDN finally making his way in, but what of it? Ground floor control, all of the anchors now sitting pretty on the site, waiting for these W7M players to make their move.
They've only got 2 rifles on W7M. Killing capability reduced. Elevate more than happy to take that trade for DCH. W7M, so much work ahead of them. They cannot afford to let it go to map 3. Here's Mr. Punch.
But look how divided this pushes. GDN, he's all on his own on the top square. Volpsy's trying to make a play through those main stairs. So is JV. Elevate, do they have info? We can see Mark, he's on his yokai drone at the moment, and Sapper, he's fully aware. The tandem of that yokai drone telegraphs the push of JV, and the time is running low.
Oh! But there's something here for W7M. There's something to work with. Mr. Punch, though. He's not going to have any of it. A pre-placed C4 now in stock as well. Volps must find something. There's just 20 seconds left. Into the site now for W7M, but Mark, Mr. Punch, and Sapper will hold on for Elevate. Here's Volps once again. He must be relied upon. Mr. Punch and Sapper to retake. With the LMG ringing on out, Mr. Punch in for the flank. He can't deny the plan, but there goes the Monty, and it is all done. Elevate. They grab the bull by the horns, and they push us to map 3.
Elevate. Hear the crowd
This is
roar.
not enough. Elevate aren't going to go down easy.
The crowd roaring for the guys in red now. The stage lighting up for the Thai players.
A moment to reflect now for these teams before heading into Border. Let's toss it back to the desk while they break down the first 2 maps.
Thank you very much, James and Amanda. We're back. We're back on the desk, and Elevate are alive. They keep it through, and they'll take us to map 3.
All right.
It's happening. But before we get to that part and kind of break down how things would go, expectations for Border, we'll have to talk about what happened here on Bank. Because if I'm looking at it, again, I'm just a dumb host that knows nothing about it.
Okay.
3-3 at the half is not great for the team that started off on that attacking side. You're expecting a 4-2, maybe 5-1 even for it. But that wasn't the case here for them.
Yeah, I mean, Bank is going to be one of those maps where you typically see the attackers do a little bit better than the defenders. I think that we really did see W7M have a great job at clawing things back. It was looking really poor with all those Monty plays, right, from Sapper that really did seem to disrupt the thing from the holds from W7M. But eventually we saw them turning it around. I think they really did a good job of adapting throughout that first half to keep themselves in the game. If you had gone down with a man or the lead disadvantage, that could have been a problem for you. But, they came back and they managed to play, I think, a couple more aggressive defenses. They started switching up their holds. You notice they started dropping, anti-nade. They started dropping Castle. They started dropping some of those, like, mute Kaid type operators. And instead, we're bringing a lot more of those frag-focused operators. So I thought that was a great adaptation. But then we swapped sides, and all of a sudden, that 3-3 split that started to look so good didn't look so good.
Look, I just love that we saw Elevate bust Monty out 5 out of 6 attacking rounds. Then we make the side swap, and W7M goes, I want a Monty too. And Monty,
Yeah.
I don't think, for the 2 rounds that they brought it out, they didn't win either of them. It was a matter of Elevate understanding there's a Monty on the field, so we have to play more distracting. We have to give the Monty things to do, which takes away the primary focus of why you bring the op in the first place, and then you can also focus on disrupting the other parts of the attack that are not Monty-centric, because it's not like the entire thing is everyone get behind the shield player and just go. You have to have more coordination to be able to use it. W7M didn't. Elevate, even though it was a 3-3 half, still felt like they built their entire attack around that single operator.
And I turn to you now, Jesse, because if I'm not mistaken, you requested a replay.
I sure did, Milos.
We
Ready to go?
collectively requested a
Both.
replay.
All right, comrades, let's put it on up. It's our replay here
Our replay.
on the desk. So we'll put it up, and I really want you to guide me through it, set it up, and what are we supposed to learn?
So this is round 5, and this is again going to be where that Monty doesn't necessarily get the most value for them. This is a 2v4 that we're going to see Herds and his partner here clutch in the 2v4 with JV92. And we see 3 players going down. There's 3 key things I wanted to highlight with this clip. Number 1, look how they're both playing on one side of the map. They both just need to look towards the east, look towards the square side. They're playing playing kind of together, not on top of one another, but forming a line. Then the thing is the Monty, he's alone right now in the 1v2, but initially he had 3 teammates, and he was never seen with the rest of his squad. They were jumping in stock, they were coming in from square without him. Maybe the Monty was in janitor to start things off. The rest of the players coming in through square just weren't with him, which gave a lot of good attacks, or a lot of good fights for those 2 players on W7M. And then suddenly the fact that there's nobody pinching in from behind, I think also made that really, really difficult for Elevate to close things out there and kind of give him the opportunity on W7M.
When you notice that many times that you're bringing a Monty, you kind of have to switch things up. To W7M's credit, they did, but a lot of that requires you to be more mobile, to be in lots of different places where you know a Monty could come from, find an avenue of ingress, and that as soon as you've got it, take them out of the equation. That's usually what happens if you notice that they continue to play an operator that annoying time and time again. Still, 5 out of 6 rounds for Elevate. They hadn't really been playing Bank nearly at all, and yet they bring it out here. So I do now fully trust them when they say they scrimmed on it, because,
for sure,
oh my God, they beat the best team on defense in the world on a map that they were supposed to be pretty good at.
Well, we got to recap this matchup with the entirety of the scoreboard and who really performed at their best, because there was a run out, at the end. We saw the Monty being played out. Also, in case you didn't notice the run out, by the way, but still, despite everything, it got real close. 7-5 victory for Elevate. They remain in the fight and take us to map 3. Onigiri at the top, 15-7.
Listen, maybe Elevate don't need Onigiri to pop off and be their star player every single game, but it sure doesn't hurt having him dropping a 15-7 KD. He really was the star of the show today. And, so part of that might have been Sapper taking a back seat, playing on Monty for so many rounds. Hard to pick up the frags there. We saw Mr. Punch also kind of getting taken down a lot of the times, especially earlier on in that first half. He had a lot of opening deaths that really weren't helping out his team to be able to get those rounds. But Onigiri, he steps up, and hey, as long as he can be there, as long as he can be that rock for the squad, then it's okay if somebody like, Mr. Punch doesn't necessarily show up for those opening rounds.
I'd say it's okay. And I also look at a stat line for W7M that, in spite of it being a loss, still seems like they're doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing. They still had times where, as soon as they realized if they could push all of the members of Elevate back onto site, as soon as W7M understands that, they can still swarm. They can still come from the outsides. They understand where to push. And even if Onigiri is looking towards an angle, there's 2 guys who can come in and find him. So W7M are still very much alive. That was a closer game than it had any right to be, but it's not like this is really tilting in one team's favor of the other right now.
Well, good. We're getting the competition here. Elevate, now people are saying, okay, this is the best team in APAC South, maybe in the entirety of APAC, for looking at, what happened with everybody else.
I think that's pretty fair.
But on top of that, we're also looking at W7M, the top squad right now. Even the Brazilians are afraid of this squad in the region. So what about our 3rd map in this series? Because we will be playing our 3rd. That'll be our decider, Border. All right. This plays completely different than most map, doesn't it? Attacking sided. Everybody keeps talking about aggression on Border, but is that true? Is that reflected in the group stage until now?
I mean, I think it kind of makes sense when you look at the perhaps playstyle that you expect on Border, and then the playstyle you expect from W7M, and then you put them together, and I think it's clear why W7M like this map so much. They're on a 3-game win streak here. It's been one that they've been rock solid on. Only 2 plays throughout BR6 Stage 2, and none since. So it is a map that they haven't touched in a little while, but it feels like they're kind of just hiding it. And it would not surprise me if this is a map they've been scrimming a lot in the background. They've been ready to pull out for a big, strong tournament here, because there haven't really been bad results that would make them stay away from this map. So I feel like it might just be something where, hey, they're waiting for a big game, and this one against Elevate happens to be that match.
I mean, that's kind of the flip side for Elevate. On Border, they've only played it 1 time in Stage 1, 1 time in Stage 2, not with high ban percentages. There is a willingness to go to Border. It's just not something that ever really comes up in their catalog. It's almost like they're kind of indifferent to it. If somebody wants to give it a shot, then sure, test our mettle, see what we're made of. But so far, they're only, from my understanding, actually, no, they're undefeated. But again, it's still only 2 plays. By comparison, W7M have played this 7 times over the course of the season in total, and they have a much better win rate just because they have to worry about that many plays overall. 2
games against Invictus and Direwolves as well.
That's good competition for APAC South.
Invictus have been kind of iffy this stage. Direwolves not bad, though.
It's all right.
There you go. So now there's always the question of how do teams, because we're international here, how do teams kind of go from, hey, we're playing in our own region, here's the matches and how they go, and versus how that translates into international play, and especially when you factor in stage, finally with an audience, et cetera, all those variables that, Brazil usually, you're looking, oh yeah, Brazilian teams, here's what they usually have when they're playing in BR6 or in Copa Elite 6. They come to international games, and it's just night and day what you see back in those local tournaments versus what we have here. And we have the ability to go to break. We will at some point, but I just want to pick your brains for a moment on kind of operator compositions or operator bans that would be helpful here for both of these teams, because it's border, W7M are aggressive. It's a space you can still maneuver around and roam and kind of lurk in border too.
I mean, we've already seen one Azami ban being coming out. That was from W7M over on Bank. Bank, a great Azami map. I think Border can have a lot of cool plays with Azami as well. We saw that in NA, playing around the security area, playing around sort of the balcony area, can be really effective with Azami. So that could be an option if they want to choose to ban that out once more. There's also a potential for Kali. I know we saw it once from Elevate in that Bank game. It didn't really work out for him. We've seen other teams around the world try the Kali on Border here, especially if Thatcher gets banned out. Could be an option for Elevate if they want to try their metal on that one again.
I think in this series it's been a massive deal that KZ has been taken off of Finca for 2 straight games. I think we've not had to call his number. We've been looking at, like JV showed up at that last game. We're talking more about Volps, obviously, from the pregame, but we're not really calling Key's name all that much. And I think it's mostly because he's trying to find another operator that he is familiar with, but mostly does still come down to fragging options, and he's still making an impact. It's just not nearly as big. So Elevate seem like they found a bit of an Achilles heel, but it's a matter of taking away how potent this W7M team can be if they're not playing with all of the guns they're typically used to.
I also feel like, I mean, we know Elevate just from watching that game. They love their Monty. Sapper's very good on the Montaigne. I feel like it can be hard to make a Monty work on Border.
That's the thing.
Right? I mean, there's so many different ways that you can try to get behind the push. You think of the very default Border take, attacking onto armory lockers to the big wall, getting into security, getting down below. There's a lot of ways to try to counter that Monty play. So I don't know if we'll see as much of that Monty, but Sapper really seems to like it, so it's not impossible.
Okay, so just to wrap things up, who takes it?
Oh, God.
I'll put you on the spot. You can't, be a fence sitter all the time.
Who said I was a fence sitter?
We have to make decisions.
The crowd doesn't seem like they're on the fence.
I think the crowd is fully in Elevate's pocket. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Who do you want to win? Elevate? W7M? Ow. All right, Elevate it is, right?
All right.
Okay, it's a bit of APAC bias.
There's a little bit, and if there's one thing I've learned from browsing Reddit, it's the public is usually wrong. I'm going to go W7M. I think this is going to be a closeout. You can boo me all you'd like, but I'm not favoring the
you're out of line, but you're not completely.
Jesse just got here 4 hours ago, and he's already delirious. See, hold on. I would pick Elevate. Good option, right?
He said I would.
But I'm in Jesse's pocket. W7M's taking the series. I'm sorry.
Good pick.
I got
Good
you.
pick.
I got you. We're fine.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
See, this is why we don't usually have the NA desk on here. So shout out to Doa.
Shout out to Doa.
Being able to handle it all. But thank you very much. You got booed in Berlin. You can write that down and write it off of your list here.
Thank you for booing me.
Hey,
I appreciate it.
Fresh got mad booed in Charlotte, so I think it's only fair.
I mean, it's not unusual. It's kind of let's get booed all over the world. Yeah. Gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. Thank you so much for being here with us, and for all those watching. We're back in a few minutes directly on our casters, James and Mandy. It'll be map 3, W7M versus Elevate. Winner moves on to semifinal. See you in a bit.
It's about time we got stuck into map 3. W7M started strong on Kafe, but Elevate have fought back, and they are ready to rumble.
Yes, they certainly are. They are back, baby, in this series. And finally, map 3 Border. That's where the final stand will be.
Border is pure undiluted chaos, which means you flip a coin. You couldn't call it between these teams. Elevate. They came back from the brink of defeat. W7M, they've showed what they're capable of, but I don't know who I'm sold on here. I think it's a pretty tough call.
I think this is a very, very tough call as well. Both these teams have showed up in the server so far. W7M, they went away flying, but Elevate, they brought it back, and now it's time for Border.
Border is where we're going to have to settle it. Neither of these teams have ever made it to a semi-final, and that is about to change. W7M from Brazil and Elevate, the last hope for APAC.
W7M as well starting out on the attack on Border. Now, typically we like to say that Border is attacker-sided, but every single map that we've played so far has gone against our expectations, and I have no idea what to expect coming into this quarterfinal.
Funny enough, the one region where Border is defender-sided is where Elevate hail from, APAC South. And they're looking to show what the South is capable of here. And the Monty band. W7M has had enough of it.
But I'll tell you what, it's been a pretty great series without Finker. It is fantastic to see one of the LMGs go. Poor KZ, he's never got a chance to pick it. And Monty, though, being taken out for Sapper. Following up with Valk, though, once again, so many operators left on the cards for the attack. Thatcher slipping in all the hard breach, slipping in everything on the table so far.
The final ban to round it out is Wamai. That leaves Mirror in as well. Azami available. Slew of operators on the defense left in the pool to fortify Elevate's position. As they start on this defensive side, they fought after losing their map to steal W7M zone. Here we go to Border to round it off.
And the first bomb site, even a curveball from the side of Elevate, taking us to Bathroom and Tellers, the first one of contest. And you know what, Dev? You know what I like to see? Sapper on the pulse. Our favorites.
Bit notorious on this pulse is Sapper. Elevate kicking it off on Tellers and Bathroom. At what point do we say W7M have had enough? They were one of the tournament favorites and they still remain, but they have been pushed hard. Elevate will not give up without a fight. This might be the first ever event for Mark and Mr. Punch, but they have shown what they are capable of. And there is no doubt who the audience favors in this game.
Elevate looking to do a very extended hold on this site. No players to begin off in the ground floor, actually. 3 of them currently in the top floor. Hatch being held open. Long lines of sight for Onigiri, who I can only imagine is going to be sitting on those east stairs waiting for the entry to come through. He's made himself a nice long line of sight into passport as well, so both points of entry being held by just one player.
And this is the way Elevate love to do it on Border. Holding that east stairs position. Sapper, UMP, no shotgun pulse this round. But W7M have showed their patience during this game.
Elevate, though, still holding steadfast in the top floor. Yin Canzella to roll into the site, but in fact there is nobody there. The line scan to ring out and hurts the first in the building.
And Volps, just look at the way you jump straight into that office window. Only 2 players left for Elevate. W7M pushed hard, they pushed fast, and they have a significant numbers advantage.
DCH, the next point of contest, still holding on to the customs. Being drawn out now, flash to follow through as well. KZ, can he connect the shots?
DCH, flashed no. He holds on, but W7M play passive. They use the E1D as GDN forces that plant down. Nigh impossible retake now for these 2 tight players and Volps. Finishes what was left of DCH. It's all Sapper, 1v5. A dominant way to start this game for W7M. Flawless in the opening round.
JV to close it out, and what a gorgeous attack from W7M as well. They knew that it was critical for them to take that top floor if they wanted to make their way into the site. Even the Yin Cantellas through the drone hole tried to distract some of the Elevate players. Maybe they were hitting the site, but the push came all at once. It was a 3-2-1 on the side of W7M to enter through that top floor, through archives, through the radio window, through the east stairs as well. Onigiri, he can only take 1 fight at a time, and well, the player on east stairs just too sharp for him.
Excellent start for W7M. Now rotating up to Armory Lockers and Archives for Elevate. Looking to find some feet. And believe it or not, it feels like a hell of a long time since I've said this, but we see Mirror on Border.
And of course, Sapper picking it as always, the construction anchor for this particular team. Elevate looking to extend their hold all the way over into Break Room with the aid of the Kiva barriers of Mark on the Azami. Trying to build a fortress inside of the Break Room and inside of CC, the first going out on the little horseshoe desk.
Really like this setup. So many long lines of sight, so much ground Elevator holding on to here. They don't want to let W7M waltz on in like they did just before. They're going to hold this for as long as possible.
And I love that they're dedicating utility to that entry denial as well. Border is one of those maps where there are so many nooks and crannies that the attackers can slip in through, and lo and behold, JV making his way in through the teller's window. It is very hard to keep track of the entries on this particular map. There are so many soft external walls, so many windows and doors that make their way into the map and Elevate. They can only hold on to so much.
And looks like W7M are setting up for a play here. From down below in Bathroom, they can open up the hatch in Tellers, potentially nade a player up. Here comes the Gon 6. They need some info. They need to drone out this position. It goes in tandem with GDN on the ace.
Oh, and JV, is he going to be able to connect the shots onto the player peeking from inside of Fountain? No, he's not. The Elevate players, with the wall open, they start to peel back their defense, making their way into Fountain instead, and W7M have claimed some of this ground.
Bomb located by
W7M also have E stairs control, and now they've found the opener. With Sapper going down, Mark quick to reply.
DCH still steadfast, holding on to Office, but actually hurts. Taken down. That's missed the punch on the ground floor. Still holding on to his roam. JV, now his attention is turned. They have info.
They know exactly where he is. JV's got to land this shot, but there's Mr. Punch. He was so good during the group stage. And now he's found his footing here.
Volps and GDN to clean up what is left of W7M, but Elevate, they aren't giving them anything. Oni, he has info on this player outside on the AC balcony. Just slipping away from his line of sight, but the shots connect onto Volps.
Look at the confidence from Elevate's captain as he continues to peak in the 4v1. It's going to be a tight scoreline here. Elevate. They've got the energy of the crowd on their side. And he continues to peak it and land shots. How does he do that?
How does he do it? The captain of Elevate, of course. GDN now just taking this time off for his team. They're up around. It's not too much to worry about yet, but Elevate, they won't give him anything, of course. Sitting on the site, restrained. What a beautiful round from them as well, from Elevate.
Every player individually performing, but also the strategy. They played into it so well. And Mr. Punch downstairs, he made such a big impact. W7M tried to hunt players one at a time, sending them his direction, and he was happy to take each of them. Elevate, in map 1, they were not very present at all, but now they have come through. They tied the score.
Such a wonderful defense as well from Elevate. They made it such that their defense was so fluent, they could pivot their utility, they could pivot their push. We saw the keeper barriers get dedicated to the CC break room push, but they also had plenty of ADSs, they had plenty of barbed wire over on the side of Easters, over on the side of Triple Wall, just in case W7M went for that instead. That's exactly what they did, and instead Elevate were able to consolidate their players over and fight that entry out, and even though they had to peel it back, it gave room for Mr. Punch to make his big play downstairs.
Elevate has certainly gotten a lot more energy than they started this series with now. And it's players like Mr. Punch that we do need to step up. Now, Elevate aren't typically a team that wants one player to pop off, to be the hero. This is a roster that wants everyone to share the glory. And that's the reason why they picked up players like Mark and Mr. Punch. They didn't want to rely on Onigiri getting 27 kills every game. Now the way that this team works is ready for the world stage.
And now for all of you that don't know at home, Elevate, from what we spoke to them about, they do not have a set IGL. All 5 players on this roster contribute to ideas in the push. They contribute to the defense that they're going to hold, and they bounce ideas off each other. Comparatively, W7M, their IGL is Herds, but as a result of the way that Elevate have shaped up this team, because they all share the responsibility and the accountability, we never see one player just pop off. It's always all of them enabling each other and helping each other out.
It's all about being a team of 5 players, not a leader, and those supporting. W7M have made some good progress here, attacking onto the customs and supply bomb site. With control above, Volps can start getting to work.
Passport as well, opened up for JV. Oh, the impact trick doesn't connect, in fact, placed too low on the reinforcement, and now they have a way in on the site. The Elevate players surrounding the bomb site adjacent, but Volps, he can take down Sapper. W7M now up in the man advantage.
The vertical game is so potent on this site. Does he see the player? Mr. Punch's head taken straight off. Herds also finds his own, doesn't lose that fight, though he is taken very low. 2 of the W7M players as such, but it doesn't matter. It's only Mark left in the 1v5.
Osa Shield going down as well, and the plan to go behind GDN. Looking for the top control is Mark. Can he connect the shots? He hears the barbed wire, and he does. Volps take down on the vertical, but he still has 4 more players to find. JV to clean up the final kill, and W7M up another round.
A strong attack from W7M. It started strong, directly hitting the site. Full control upstairs in CCTV and break room, and the vertical game that was opened up was Untouchable. What can Elevate do?
Well, W7M, they made that defense very claustrophobic very quickly for Elevate. Elevate, they all started out on the site. We didn't have any roamers start out at points of entries, and they were immediately punished for it. Volps, he made his way in through break straight away. This is the vertical that we saw in the replays now. Because he got this entry done so quickly, no one holding on to 90, no one holding on to E-stairs, he was able to trap the Elevate players off of the site, making vertical and cutting them off. As a result, the rest of W7M players, they could come in, open up the wall, get that bomb down, and Elevate punished for not holding on to that early map control.
But they won't dwell on the issues of the past. They'll go and reattempt Bathroom and Tellers, where this game opened up. W7M used the Lion to such significant effect to rush in, to find a lot of early map control, as W7M are wont to do. My question is, what's going to change here for Elevate?
Elevate, this looks a lot more spread out from them. This looks a lot more confident in their roam game. They're all starting out in different points of the map. We have plenty of players watching that Armory breach. We have a player on E-stairs. We have players inside of Bathroom Tellers anticipating the early push just in case. And so for W7M, they're not going to be caught out guard this time. They'll have to find a new point of entry. It's going to be better contested in the early round.
Good mute jammer here in break room. Gonna keep Onigiri hidden for a little bit longer.
And a really gorgeous pivot as well from Elevate. They've realized that W7M are looking for that CCTV and Armory control, and Marky makes his way over. He connects the shots, but not being taken down by GDN. Oni, though, still holding on to this position in break room, not droned out, protected by that mute jammer.
He has a good long angle. He can use this 50 cal Uzi. But he falls back. And W7M, at least they traded that opening death, but they perhaps don't have as much ground as they would like.
Mr. Punch still holding on to this top floor. C4 and SMG-11 in hand as the rest of the W7M players begin this roam clear. Stagnating now. We're at a bit of an impasse. A player is about to round the corner on Onigiri.
Oh, he falls back. Doesn't want to take the fight. KZ as well, getting very close to Mr. Punch, who's falling further and further back into the office. Feeling that pressure. Goes for a wall bang. It's Onigiri who gets traded back. Everything that Elevate does, W7M have a response.
But now Elevate showing so much restraint, going back into the bomb site. Vertical is in play, this time for Volps, but he's really not got much left in his hands. Only 2 more hard breach charges, and GDN now starting to get this wall open. Elevate, they've got the time advantage right now. They just need to sit and wait, hold adjacent to the site, and wait. W7M, what's the next move?
Well, a breach onto the site from underneath East Stairs is a strong one. Spotting out all of the Grismots as well for W7M. Oh, nice shot. Quick flick of the wrist for JV. W7M eager to capitalize. A flashbang may well mask the sound of the drop. Sapper has to have an impact, but he's full white. He's full blind. 2v3 for Elevate means that Sapper, he's got to make this position count. Round the corner. He can find one. Doesn't see the second player. Here's it ring out, and Onigiri, meanwhile, the trap. Finds the planter. It's all on Volps. He's made it a 1v1. DCH to clutch it. Time is on his side, but Volps, oh, he fakes it! He's got to land the shot, DCH, you just have to survive!
DCH! With the final kill of the round off the back of time! And Elevate push themselves in this game. What a beautiful hold that was from them. And look at the smiles on their faces, Sapper. I saw that little smirk that came out when he heard the Let's Go Elevate from the crowd. Such a gorgeous hold as well. Restraint through that mid-round. They knew that W7M were taking their time. They knew that they were stagnated from that roam that Onigiri and Mr. Punch were able to do so successfully. And now as they try to enter into the site, Sapper, he finds the timing, the mechanical prowess of this player. He can do everything, can't he, Sapper?
Yeah, it seems so. He's Monty main, Mirror main, Smoke main, entry, clutch, whatever you need. He says, I can do it. Elevate, though, it's not a done deal. 2 rounds on defense may not be enough. They need to push for as many as possible, and it has been back and forth in this game. W7M opened, then elevate, then back, and then forth. And a retry here now of customs and detention. Now, this was such a pitiful sight for Elevate last time. W7M were perfect.
But look how different Elevate are playing this now. They've realized, okay, we gave way too much to Volps on that top floor. We need to hold on to this control. Now playing a mirror inside of Cubby, but it's taken out by the Twitch drone. Mark, though, he's still aided by the keeper barriers for this point of entry. In W7M, they're not giving away as much free real estate this time. They have to fight for it.
We've seen late round traps be impactful for Elevate, thanks to the Thorn last round. Could the Frost have a similar impact? Keep that in the back of your mind. W7M have made good progress, though, especially taking down that mirror, as you mentioned, in CCTV. Opens up more options for W7M. Drone work as well. Spots out Mark's position on the Azami. Vulnerable to a wall bang. He is getting pinched.
Oh, Mark taking a lick of damage now. Has to fall back into the rotate. The Lion Scan rings out. Is the entry there to follow the Gon 6 in the background.
Oh.
JV, he's made his way in, and Volps, he'll take down Mr. Punch.
Trying to support is Mr. Punch, but Mark actually manages to escape down below. Still not great for Elevate. Oh! DMR, you say. I've got a DMR right here.
W7M now with top floor control, but with much less time than the previous attempt. On a Gary. Getting aggressive on these vertical angles. He's not giving up any more space. He said, W7M, you've had enough. You've had the top floor, but you can't get the sights. A minute and ticking down left now for W7M.
Oh, Gemini taken out. DCH spotted, but he's got lines of sight to play around. Herds actually falls back. Starting to push on the side. Opens up one of these hatches. W7M have some options now. What do they go for? GDN's got a breach on the detention wall. Volps at top metal stairs, but Elevate separated.
They have options, but no vertical. The Elevate players, they can sit on the site much more happily now with the keeper barriers to aid them as well. 45 seconds left, but Elevate, they look so comfortable.
Oh, but the nade for Herds, it covers the sound of the drop, but it doesn't matter. Sapper, what can't he do? Volps there, he gets the double. He might not know it, but Onigiri is now down on the ground. A hatch drop for 2 players at W7M, but Sapper, he seems fully aware. A flashbang to go through, but Sapper spots out the Nomad. Can he land the duel? Dancing around the metal detectors. DCH for the backstab with the pistol. The team kill! Oh no, JV! He's made this so difficult for himself. And he must plant. He might not know it, but it's only him and DCH. DCH has time on his side. It's a 1v1! JV, he's got the clutch.
And what a dicey round that was from W7M. They took their time with the entry. It almost looked like Elevate had the grip on that round, but the 2K from the top of metal stairs, oh, it all fell apart for Elevate and their defense.
Impressive that W7M could bring it back from that position, but scary that it got so close. They had an early advantage and weren't able to convert until the final moments. Relief and excitement on their faces at that winning moment.
But you just know that Elevate, they're going to come back from this. Elevate, they always tell us, whenever we talk to them, they say, we just need to hold on to our man advantage. The thing that they kick themselves the most about is that when they have the man advantage, sometimes they do some silly things. And I know that Elevate, that's exactly what's going on in their comms right now. They're thinking, all right, guys, we had that round. It could be 3-2. Let's not give them anything. We're back in this.
Well, one more round would tie it up. In every region except for APAC South, this map is attacker-sided. Elevate need to prove why they can defend it better than anyone else and even this scoreline before they switch onto their own attacks.
The final defense going out on the Armory room now. KZ, once again, wow, the use of this Twitch drone. He's been able to get so much value out of it every single time. A camera, a mute jammer, what else can he get? Nope, he's going to get off now. He's pretty happy with his luck so far. W7M shaping up around the other side of the map, however, looking for a triple take.
droning out a lot of this map. You can see the way that W7M wants to clear this office position is by opening up the hatch from below. But guess what? It's actually reinforced now. You can't throw nades up through that hatch when it's reinforced.
What a great adaptation as well from Elevate, reading into the fact that W7M like this triple take. Although they've left the wall open, there's still the reinforcement here to play with. There's still the ADS as well, and the hatch is closed. Sapper, he can hold this Hell in the Cell spot for as long as he feels like.
Great operator forward as well on the Ella. A menace in close range. A blind nade through the floor for Herds. Doesn't find anything, but it does expose one of the key positions on site. Still, Sapper, standing on top of the brickwork, is safe from below.
And W7M, not nearly as confident this time on this entry. Before we saw the pressure in come from below, but DCH, he has the read, he has the vertical.
Oh my
Sapper
God.
find the second onto Volps. It's all falling apart for W7M.
It's far little far too late. A nice attempt at adapting the W7M to use the Selmas to open the hatch, but it's just too slow. And now they must make a desperate attempt to push in and frag out. JV on the ingress, but there's Mr. Punch. SMG 11 cleans it up. A 5v2 now for Elevate. This adaptation has stalled out the Brazilians.
KZ trying to mount some kind of pressure. They're reshaping up for a Armory side push instead, but Onigiri, he's there to challenge them. Gun in hand, and KZ to be taken down. GDN now left in the 1-on-5.
How many flawless rounds have Elevate managed this series? Could be yet another, and W7M again are just going to bait out the rest of the round. Use that tactical timeout, the free one that you get when you just wait.
And how gorgeous was that defense from Elevate as well? You said it. They need to even it up, 3-3. And how perfect was the adaptation? Closing up that hatch, putting Sapper in a Hell in the Cell spot, the perfect play to do it. DCH knew he might get naded from below, and so he played the vertical for it. Mr. Punch, he was there for the crossfire, and Elevate, the perfect read on that triple wall take, works out for them, and now 3-3 half-time is ticking away. 3, 2, 1. Elevate. Another round on the board.
Elevate ready for the attacking side now. W7M have to show what they've got on their defense. Neither team has played this so far at the major. It's a blank slate border. They've a little bit hiding it, practicing it behind the scenes. Couple of nasty shots here, I got to admit.
Really?
Have a look at this one.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice little correction.
Elevate now, they're going to move onto their attack instead. And historically, we like to say that border is attacker's side. And now W7M, they weren't able to amount any more than 3. And Elevate will have to do better if they want to take this series. Remember, this is a map point for both teams. We are all tied up here in the scoreboard. And Armory will be the bomb side of choice for W7M.
The last time W7M played border, they beat both INTZ and Team 1 in the BR6. Now back then, their attacks, they were so potent. They won 75% of them. Defenses weren't far behind either. They still won the majority of them. But that was against a very different caliber of team. And W7M trying to research what Elevate do on this map. Well, there's a couple of odds here and there, but not nearly as many as they would like.
W7M, what an aggressive hold they're looking for, though. We've got the Oryx down below, making use of the hatches. While the rest of the anchor players spread out their way through the top floor, waiting for that east-stairs push, waiting for the triple entry. DCH, he's trying to enable himself with this Nook to sneak his way in. Oni, of course, on the top of east-stairs, but taken down by KZ.
It's a big early pick and a big player to take out. What a DCH and the rest of the Elevate boys going to be able to do without their captain.
W7M still holding their ground on this top floor, and actually Elevate, they've changed their mind. They're going to try something new, going down from below instead of nade to be cooked. Will it connect? They have the info, but it doesn't.
Not quite. Info a little bit late. The player had rotated out by that point. Pulled back from break room.
Elevate, though, they're completely changing this push now. East Des control, no. We're just going to leave Sapper here on the cutoff. That's fine. Mr. Punch now will make his way up to CCTV instead, try and get their work on the wall done. Mark now droning out the CCTV position, actually finding out that it is relatively clear for them, except the Irini, of course, just rotating in now. KZ, he's been droned out. Does he spot this one? He doesn't.
He knows he was droned. He doesn't know he's still... They got a live feed on him, so much info. Elevate have to land the shots. DCH, lovely little spray onto the barricade and locking the kill onto Volps. Still, the Iruni at large.
And look at that, Mr. Punch from below as well. They have the info on him, and Mr. Punch has a grenade in hand. This could be disastrous for KZ. And he gets taken down anyway by DCH. It's all coming together for Elevate.
Lose their opening player, it doesn't matter. Now moving into CCTV, a minute remaining.
Activating head.
DCH sneaking his way through CCTV now. The wall being open, aggressive player on the doorway, but the shots connect. The headshot, it's perfect from DCH. Hers to trade one back into Sapper, but the man advantage still in favor of Elevate. Mr. Punch!
It's all on Herds now, and that's not happening. Elevate. A lovely start to their attacking half. They can lose the opening pick. They can lose the SI kill world record holder. It doesn't matter. These guys have got it, and they can feel your energy.
And can you just feel the composure oozing through this Elevate squad? It's not one IGL, it's 4 of them. All of them said, let's rotate over. This East Des control, too hot. CCTV given to us for free. Oh look, I have a drone inside of CCTV. Mr. Punch, go down below and nade KZ out of there. And they're all just on the same page as a network, this neural network of players, blood flowing through all of their veins, just the energy, the everything that they have in the server.
People are starting to see that W7M, they can bleed. They've been unreal throughout BR6 this year. Came out of nowhere. But at the major, the stakes are so much higher. The pressure is so much higher. You're not playing BO1s anymore. W7M historically have struggled a bit more in those BO3s within the Cobra Elite when they're versing teams of the same pedigree. And here they are. They might have won the first map. But
W7M.
This is not over yet.
And that's exactly right, W7M holding on to this top floor. The bomb site is bathroom and tellers, of course, but look how fortified the position inside of offices. I think that was 5 or 6 reinforcements dedicated to it. Keeper barriers, ADSs, and a shield as well. Ooh. If Elevate want vertical control, they have a lot to play for, but they're not even going to go for it. Onigiri, he finds the first pick here on the balcony. And Mr. Punch is straight in the building. He does not give a damn.
Just look at the entries. Doesn't take any time whatsoever. You blink and you miss it. W7M now feeling that pressure. A bit worried. Hey, wait a second. These guys are in very early. Wonder what that C4 can do. There's no info. There's nothing for it. Herd's getting a little bit aggressive. Elevate have dialed it down.
Elevate are now faced with the second problem here, and that's to clear out the top floor. But of course, Mr. Punch, he's the second one, playing that cutoff on the ground floor, is able to find one of the anchors. He can find another. Herd's taken down, getting aggressive on the hatch, and Elevate now at the man advantage. Can he find a third? Volps, he can find the trade, but not before Onigiri is on his tail, and GDN in the side as well.
And he's the last one left. W7M may well be falling right here. Elevate have been so phenomenal here on Border. Flawless attack so far. Picture perfect.
And once again, oozing confidence. These entries, Onigiri on the front line. Mr. Punch, the setup inside of office, terrifying. He doesn't care. He makes his way through 90. He fights the players 1-to-1. And W7M falling at the seams, bleeding every other round.
The Kings of Thailand, record breakers, the Beasts of APAC, 3 veterans and 2 rookies. That's this Elevate roster, and they are so close to making their first semi-final. W7M. They have so much pressure on their shoulders right now. They won the first map, and since then, they have been pushed so hard. 2 rounds trailing, and they take their tactical timeout.
And the team play from Elevate has just been so electric. Don't you think so? There's energy coming from every single one of these players, all on the same page, all at once, surrounding W7M like vultures, and now taking their tactical timeout are W7M. They have to match the pressure that Elevate are pushing on them.
Oh no, JV, what happened? Half HP impacted himself? I sure hope that doesn't come back to bite him later.
Starting out now on this ventilation bomb site off the back of that tactical timeout, mirror windows being dedicated to the roam game in the top floor. W7M, they want to hold on to as much map control as possible because Elevate, once they find their pick, they take it and they run. It's about winning out these entries for W7M, trying their best to stagnate Elevate in their path.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Trying to find their feet still on these defenses at W7M. But if something ain't working, you've got to change it, and that's exactly the story that they are following right now. DCH has managed to get his Twitch drone all the way deep. He's going to be able to get inside, take out one of the main cameras, but that reveals the Twitch drone's position. His priority, number 1, is these mirror windows from Herds, but for now, I mean, he's just denying so much information.
DCH, of course. Another charge on this Twitch drone, taking down all the info they have on the top floor. Sapper as well, he's managed to find his way inside of customs, putting pressure horizontally, making the anchors turn their attention towards him, while the rest of Elevate clear through that top floor, pushing the roamers away and into the line of sight of Sapper.
And Elevate have so much info right now. A quick flick of the drones and you see it. They're poising themselves around this top floor, around this bomb site as well. And the lion will roar to lock those defenders in place.
Sapper, so much info on these players on the top, trying to bait out the defenders to come to him. His cutoff. JV gets aggressive on the window inside ventilation, taken low by the Zofia impact.
Scary position for JV. And he's about to feel all kinds of pressure.
Elevate, they've actually changed their mind. They've reconvened all of their players onto the east side control, leaving Sapper behind, playing this flex position, waiting for any roamers, trying to catch out the anchors. They even have info on the side. Yellow pings going out onto JV. Does he see the backpack of the Maestro? Yes, he does. Sapper to connect the shots onto the side player. Smoke bait to ring out, but Elevate.
GDN's impact has got to be felt on the smoke. Keeps the push at bay for a bit longer. But Elevate have done such a good job of shutting W7M down. DCH on for the entry up above, but there's Herds. W7M erupt. 2 picks of their own. They have the numbers back on their side, but here comes Mr. Punch. He gets a face full of buckshot. The trade is on from Onigiri. But the Brazilians have the lifeline here.
They might have the lifeline, but do they have the site? It's completely empty right now, and Mark has the diffuser in his hand. GDN, he has no more smoke babes as well, but Herds to take down Onigiri now. It's up to Mark to clutch this one up 1 versus 3.
There's so much vertical capability here. The 3 players on W7M. And look at the height there.
KZ turning it up in the server, the player that you can see on your pictures now. Happy with that 3K up his belt. And Elevate, that was an interesting attack from them. They left Sapper behind, turning away the attention of the anchors. And as soon as he's able to take one down, we saw all the W7M players, they scrambled to try and regain that vertical control. They all went into Armory. And although the Elevate players tried to backstep them for that entry, the game sense from these players to turn around and realize, hang on a second, we've just given up the map control. They're still going for this roam clear, turning around and taking down 3 Elevate players looking to backstep them. Perfect from W7M.
Yeah, they keep their cool when things get hot. W7M still fighting from behind. But the reaction on that win, just look at that from Herds.
W7M now taking us up to yet another bomb site now on the top floor, holding on to this east stairs control.
10 seconds left before
A rotate actually aggressive being played on the triple wall as well as mute jammers. to aid the push going into break room, reading into the fact that Elevate, perhaps they look for a CC take here. Last time, Elevate made that very successfully work out from them. They pivoted over towards that CC side. They found nades from below. The entries worked out in their favor. But W7M are a bit more prepared this time.
And there's a late round X factor for W7M as well with the Yokai drones from the Echo. GDN has a lot of ability for early round aggressive info and playmaking, which we know W7M are fond of, yet haven't shown very much of here. And of course, as well, if Elevate take too long, those Yokais can be clutch in a pinch.
Saba holding this long line of sight onto East. There's just a pixel, a tiny pixel onto Hertz. Also holding on to the same, a bit of an impasse here between these two teams. Mr. Punch once again making his push from below, 2 grenades in hand, but is there info on the site? Where are these W7M anchors? Some yellow pings go out, but it's too late. There's no one there anymore.
Clearing some util perhaps. This is a risky nade to play. Ooh.
Oh.
Punishing a potential aggressive player, but no one there and no utility to clear. Mr. Punch still below with one more nade in pocket. As Elevate start to shape up, and here come the hard breach.
W7M being much more restrained here now. They've realized they need to give the respect to Elevate they deserve. They want to go back into the philosophy of waiting for Elevate to take their time and play it slow. That is what Elevate are doing right now, but will they go punished for it? KZ now taking the fight inside of break room.
A real weakness for Elevate here has been the lack of impact from those nades below. Neither has found anything of meaning. And W7M still control the breach. They still control break room, CCTV. Elevate have very little ground to show for the minute and a half they've spent trying to push this map.
Oh, but look at this. A pinch going through the top floor. Onigiri, he's just made his way into CCTV while his friends over on East Des. He finds the first onto the break room player, but not without trade. Herds coming in through break room, anticipating a second player, but it doesn't matter. Sapper, he's good for the refrag.
J9, JV has got something to say. GDN and him are the last remaining players left. Elevate have numbers advantage, and they're up on the scoreboard as well. This is the final map. Could it be the penultimate round?
But look at this from JV going below with the C4 in hand, anticipating that Elevate might take too much time. If an Elevate player is C4'd, getting the plant down, it could be disastrous. There's still info on those Yokai drones. They have to go now if they want a chance at getting this execute down.
I think you threw it into the default spot. The Yokai spotted, but this C4 could be pulled at the right moment. And there it is, detonated, and W7M tie the scoreline. What a play.
It's not over yet, Dev. Elevate, what an excellent entry they made into that top floor. They realized that the breach wasn't working, but because they'd drawn so much of the attention of those W7M plays across, it allowed the 2 entries to come through Eastes, to come through Mezzanine, make the pinch work with Onigiri. But in the man advantage, one thing they hadn't accounted for was JV on that C4, on that default plant spot.
Very well played from them in a pinch. And for JV to rotate back to site to help out as well. Exactly what they needed. And every round, the hype just increases for this team. It's getting up out of his chair. He's unleashed.
Round 11 now. One team will go on match point at the end of this round. 1 point away from victory, from going into the semi-final, and now they'll take us down to customs and supply. W7M. We've had the world tour on this map, Dev. We've gone to all 4 bomb sites. Not all of them have been successful, but alas, we've seen quite some diversity here. KZ using one of his mirror windows to face the breach aggressively, while the rest of his teammates shape up around that CCTV side, waiting for the Elevate entry to come through.
A good setup from W7M with a lot of good reconstruction utility. We've got the castles. Also got lots of info in the late round in lieu of the Maestro camps.
Onigiri immediately putting some pressure onto the site, opening up the window, but not without being contested from the vertical. JV above, anticipating the early push this time. Although Elevate, they're starting to make their way on the ground floor. They want to pressure out these anchors, make them squirmish, make them freak out a little bit, cause these roamers to pay attention to what's going on while the rest of the team look for that roam clear, and it's absolutely working right now. JDN now has his eyes trained on the breach. Same thing, the vertical being at play, and JDN taken low. Elevate, they're surrounding the site like vultures.
But JV aren't dead yet. JV isn't dead yet. W7M is still holding their positions. Elevate sending in their utility, looking to clear out all of the setup that W7M's got on site. Here comes the Rotero. It's going to be able to clear out the floor, Evil Eye from Maestro. But in comes Volps. He's been such an impactful player for W7M across their campaign.
W7M realizing that Elevate could hit the site at any point now and rotating one of their roamers back to help out GDN, who's been taken down very, very low. That being said, though, Elevate now have much more map control than they had before. The defenders now split up between the roam and between the site, but what can they make use of it? Can they convert this into an entry?
DCH on for this top floor clear. Time is ticking away. Elevate can't sit outside forever. DCH is going to move forward. Herd's upstairs. He's on that mirror window. DCH doesn't have live info. Onigiri jumps in and jumps straight back out. DCH has the perfect position. But his position's about to be revealed. Caught between two players. There's Herd's. Numbers advantage has slipped through Elevate's fingers.
Grenades follow through for Mr. Punch, but nothing to come of it. It doesn't connect to Onigiri. He has info. He has an idea that there will be a player in the site ready to contest him. He vaults in, looking to take the fight. Still low, the player sits tight.
Oh, how do you win that, Volps? This is why Volps can land things that no one else can. He's a miracle worker. KZ as well to take out Mark. It's a done deal. W7M find match and series points.
W7M not being baited out this time by the roam clear of Elevate. The pressure mounted on the site, but they realized, okay, Elevate, they're not going to hit the site just yet. We know the pressure is there, but it's perceived. It's just the roam clear. It's still happening. It's still going. And they held on to that vertical control for dear life. And Elevate, although they tried to look for that roam clear, it didn't work. It was far too late. And W7M hold out for another round.
The key is turning for W7M. And they keep their cool. It's been a long series so far. Can Elevate make it even longer by pushing overtime? W7M, they know for such a long time they've been working towards making it to a major, making it to the playoffs. Making it to the top 4 is something that they have never achieved before. And something that every player aspires to do.
Just about 9 months ago, they found themselves almost in relegation, W7M. They were going to fall apart, but then they picked up the 2 new gunners, Volps, JV, and now look where they are. 1 round away from making it to the semi-final.
And for Elevate, surely not heartbreak again. Surely not an early exit from the playoffs. They need to fight back, and there's no second chances.
W7M, they're looking to repeat this hold into bathroom, and Teller's fortifying the position inside of office. Shields, wall dial, everything in their hands. But Elevate, they look like they're going for something a little bit different. Ying in the hands of DCH, Sapper as well with the Flores, now getting their way straight into the ground floor, droning it out, seeing if there are any W7M players that might meet them. But it doesn't seem like it, as Onigiri can make his way straight into Workshop.
And Onigiri is a dangerous player here in his position. A barricade might slow him down. There's the punch moving in from Passport. JV on the other side of the wall. He's been drawn out so many times. He is the pinch player. Elevate have been hunting him, but they haven't been able to confirm the kill yet.
Once again, Elevate looking for the same formula that they had before. Put pressure onto the site, rattle the roamers on W7M, and try and capitalize on their mistakes. But as of now, W7M not making any mistakes, not willing to go out their positions just yet. In fact, adapting to this site push right now, putting a rotate for them to come back from this east stairs position. Who will reign supreme on this side of the map?
Still a 5v5 and half the round's done. Elevate struggling to eliminate JV. For so long, they've known he's here at the bottom of the east stairs. And finally, Elevate draws first blood. JV still in that pickle position. How much damage is he going to be able to do? How much longer can he survive? He's finally taken out, but not before W7M can deal some damage of their own.
And look at this from Volps as well. He's still holding on to his top floor control. He's still holding on to this position inside of construction where Elevate are all coming from. The vertical, it's starting to pressure out Elevate. What can they do?
And this is where Mark and Onigiri need to have an impact. But the players above, Volps, they're cutting off so many of the open for Elevate. Here comes the Gon6 to put some pressure on. Volps still stays on that mezzanine.
Mark, though, he's trying to get his way into the site. Bomb in his hand.
And he must land this opening shot. Mr. Punch steps up. Volps goes down. That was the player stopping Elevate from entering the site. And so they flood. GDN under so much pressure. He cannot make a play, but he must. Elevate have the post plan. Herds can retake the top floor for 1 kill. He gets a second. A 2v2. W7M wait with bated breath. They could lock in a semi-final right here, but they will have to land the impossible on Onigiri! The man himself to push us into overtime.
And overtime is exactly what this series deserves. Elevate. They don't stagnate through that mid-round. W7M, they might not have given them anything in that early round, but as soon as it came to the mid-round, as soon as they were able to take down the player, stopping Mark from getting into the site, they jumped right on it. Elevate matching the pacing of W7M, pressing the attack, and as soon as they were able to, bang, it's go time.
This map is pure claustrophobia. When you have a player like Volps in a position on the mezzanine with so much impact, Elevate knows that is the linchpin.
Of course.
But it's also so difficult to get in there. You have to have your timings down to perfection. And that is something both of these teams have been nailing. Their entries, but also their timings to work together as a team. And we're going to have to see another defense round from W7M. It has been split down the middle. And now into overtime, we're going to find out in the next 3 rounds how this goes down.
And this is some incredible siege that we're seeing as well. Every strategy is dynamic. The defense, the attack, but it's not just the strategies, it's the pacing, it's the timings. It's the reason why these players play scrims for hours and hours and hours, and they drive on all their strats, and they wait for those perfect timings to capitalize and maximize their strategy. And we're seeing that perfectly in this game, both teams matching pace. Now Elevate are mounting another attack, looking for this entry onto Armory.
But where must they push, they wonder? A little bit of everywhere. A little bit of below, a little bit of an office take as Onigiri makes his way up onto the AC balcony. Spraying with that LMG. Down the barricade, straight into the site. W7M, though, they're not looking to get aggressive here. They're playing their positions as Elevate start to chew through this util.
And it's the same formula once again. Immediately put pressure on the site, make an anchor worry about you. It's been working out very well for Elevate. Always an anchor trained on the line of sight instead, but Herds. Look at this hold that he's got on the east stairs, aided by the keeper barriers. He's isolating these one-on-ones with this keeper barrier. He only needs to fight one of the doorways on east stairs, but Elevate know it. They're not falling to the push, and Sapo, oh, that was a bit close.
And this is the thorn in Elevate's side, that east stairs position held so strong by Herds with the Azami. Elevate need to clear it out. What is their plan? Where is their util? Where is their burn? Sap has made his rotation. He's going all the way over outside the balcony to CCTV and Armory, where JV is waiting to meet him, inching closer to the angle. The 1.5 delivers the goods for JV, but there's immediately a reply, and east stairs has been cleared.
Once again, amazing push from Elevate. They gave away East's control, but instead Herds makes a mistake off that. Herds thinks, oh, they're just about to hit the site. I'm going to move now, and Oni is there for the cutoff. Same with DCH now, outside of break room, punishing KZ on the mezzanine. W7M falling apart now, making mistakes. The cracks, they're starting to slip through.
Young gunner, FPL god Volps will have to step up, as he has done for W7M time and time again, but he's been shut down! The star player is gone! It's all fallen to pieces for W7M. Elevate, so close they can taste it.
Oh no. KZ to take out one with the Razor Bloom and JV as well. Only 20 seconds left. Elevate, where are you on the side? Missed the punch to make the entry.
A 2v1, GDN has got to clutch up. He gets the first one. It's all on DCH. Is there a Yokai drone to deny this plant? As GDN moves forward, he goes for the spray! Another match point in the 2v4 clutch.
W7M not willing to go out without a fight. They will not go down quietly against this Elevate roster. Elevate, once again, just such a dynamic attack onto these W7M players. It's so hard to match pace with these entries. They put all the pressure on one side of the map. They make W7M worry, but as that's happening, they have players rotate off, changing, dividing the attention of W7M, forcing them to make mistakes, having to choose one position over the other. They're trapped in the flow of Elevate. But GDN with this clutch, they're still in it.
Yeah, and not only are W7M still in it, but they are so close. And Herd's energy has not died down for a second. It's only built with every consecutive round. Now W7M once again have the series point within their grasp.
Elevate now taking us once again to this top floor bomb site. Looking to hold onto the break room, aided by the meat jammers, the Kiva barriers, everything that they need in their arsenal. As well as leaning into the mirror once again from Sapper. It's been quite successful, aside from when it gets taken down by Herds' switch drone, but holding on to this 90 position as well as the breach, I can only imagine a bit later on.
How does W7M intend to clear this office position that they struggled with since Elevate reinforced that hatch? The Hibana is there this time. And there's no mute jammer on that hatch from what I can see, so hang on a second. W7M are rotating over.
Uh-oh. This could be not so good for Elevate. They've put all their utility on the triple wall side.
Right.
Herds, he could walk into the side now. There's no one holding on to it. DCH has to make his way back.
Could this be a rush? The setup, the Glaz. Onigiri goes low, playing the position of half wall. The last line of defense to hold on to the front of Armory. A daring play from W7M as the second E1D rings out. The Lion locks the defenders in place. The Elevate start to fall back. They're reading this.
They realized what W7M are going for, and they were going to hit the site, but W7M dialing it back, changing the pace. Going over to E stairs and break room instead, but look how claustrophobic this defense is now from Elevate. They've all been baited to come back onto the site. There's no more map control in their hands. And Herds, he might find a pick here.
Oh, KZ loses a bit of health there. Herds on this angle, he's so close. Oh my God! It was a trade. How did DCH even see anything? W7M made good progress. They've got good ground. What can they do with it?
Onigiri, though, he's no longer trained his eyes on the breach. It's open to W7M, and if W7M capitalize on that position, it could all be over for Elevate, but they're still taking their time, taking it slow.
Well, there's a lot of time left to work with. A full minute for W7M. But that pressure is mounting. Risk-taking. I mean, how can you afford to take a risk when you're on that match point? They're waiting. They're talking it through. They can't get a breach. KT goes for the face check. Clears the mute jammer. And a defender pushes a bit too aggressive. Onigiri goes down.
And W7M, it looks like something explosive is about to happen. Volks, you can find yet another pick onto Mr. Punch. Now in the man advantage of W7M.
They might just have it. It's a 4v2 for W7M. Elevate start to step up, but Volps, he survives. It's all on the Sapper. It's a 1v2 with that diffuser planted. W7M have fought valiantly, and they're about to find the win. Sapper can't do anything about it. These rising stars from Brazil, they're charging their way towards victory, the climb. It's got to be the kill here. Got to be the final lock-in for KZ. Sapper goes for a run. but surely that's the end of it. He's got no time, and W7M just playing with their food. A good attempt, but now he's got to stick it. There's no second chances. GDN, all he has to do is pull the trigger. A new era of Siege is upon us, and their flag flies blue, green, and yellow. W7M, Summit Mount Elevate.
And it's all over for Elevate. Their dream of making it to the semi-finals being crushed by the Brazilians.
A well-deserved victory for the great charging bulls of W7M. And for the very first time, these players will make it to the semi-finals. 6 Invitational is all but confirmed for this roster. But the job is not done yet. They have their eyes set on that trophy.
Eyes set on the prize is what W7M want. And they are not stopping at any cost.
They were pushed hard. It was a long series. And we're going to break it down. So we'll go back to the desk.
Hi, I mean, can you believe it? The crowd were going absolutely crazy for Elevate, but they are the first team to drop out here. W7M are your first quarterfinal winners and book their spot in our semi-finals. I'm looking to see if we can get in and amongst it over here with the players. I know that these guys say that they don't speak super good English, but that's fine. Don't worry at all. KZ, just briefly, first things first, was it ever in doubt? Those guys gave you a fight.
Yeah, for sure. They play very well, and they surprise us a lot.
Surprises.
Yeah.
Do you know what I want you to do?
Huh?
For all of your Portuguese fans watching back home, what would you like to say in your own language?
Eu queria agradecer a torcida de todo mundo aí que está de casa, principalmente minha família, que acordou cedo pra caramba para estar assistindo aí. E agradecer também os amigos, todo mundo. E é isso. Beijo, mãe, beijo, pai, vó, tia, tio, todo mundo. Amo vocês.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. All right, very hyped. It was pretty intense over here when they got that one over the line. And to pick the first quarterfinal apart, let's throw it down to the desk with Milos on the desk.
Are we really on the desk? Yes, we are. Hey, and what's up? Thank you very much, and congratulations to our victors, W7M, taking it against Elevate. And yes, I know the crowd was on Elevate's side mostly, but would you agree, was it a good game?
Look, all I'm gonna say is, we were right.
That's why we're up here, Jacob, and they're down there.
Ooh, good point.
Achievement complete. Get me twice.
Listen.
2 hours.
I didn't expect Elevate to do as well as they did. I slept on Elevate before this event. Some experts may have had them going out in groups. We don't have to dive into who, but they really did perform well. And I thought that they should be proud after that best of 3 that they just put up against W7M. And again, the strongest team statistically in many areas throughout the group stage game to come and play such a strong best of 3 against them, I think is really, really impressive. And there'll be many more lands to come, right, Jacob?
There will be. Again, they've qualified for both of them this year. There's no reason to think we won't see Elevate back at some point. But let's not talk about the losers. Let's talk about the winners, namely us, because we got that game right and the crowd didn't. The best part about what we've seen in this game is just a continuation of W7M's formula. Yes, there was a bit of a stumble on map 2. Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest thing in the world, but we're still watching a W7M squad that dominated in groups continue it forward. It wasn't the greatest defensive thing that we've seen, but obviously that might tank their overall percentage at this point, and maybe that now it doesn't rank nearly as highly as it used to, but the possibilities are still endless for how far W7M can go in this bracket.
I think it speaks a lot to their mental fortitude as a team to be going down for those 2 opening defensive rounds. And generally, your early defensive rounds are the ones that you really need to be winning as a team. That's where you get to play your strongest strats that you haven't shown yet in the match. There hasn't been an ability for the attackers to adapt yet. And they lost both of those opening 2 rounds on defense in rounds 7 and 8 to bounce back, to play so much better after the fact. You know, we got to talk to KZ as well up in the interview, and he was a player that kind of struggled this game. We hyped him up as maybe the best player in all of Brazil. I think he ended up like 6-9, maybe 7-9. Not a positive scoreline. Was really struggling for those opening kills on defense, especially. So for them to bounce back without having their star player, I think really does speak volumes to their strength as a team.
Biggest point that I wanted to harp on is exactly how the rookies were going to do under pressure. Because some of these guys have been playing in BR6 for a really long time and haven't had anything notable aside from maybe a win over a big team in Brazil here and there. So some of them have experience, but some guys haven't even traveled for a LAN outside of Brazil. Volps, again, every single thing he was playing, he was mostly lying on border because Sledge doesn't nearly work as well when you have to corral. He found an operator that works so well. He was topping the scoreboard, it seemed like, very consistently. Doesn't really seem as though pressure got to him much at all.
Well, before we start at border, we had the conversation about, well, border, mostly attacker favored, probably one of the most right now, plus with how W7M plays, yet we still went to overtime through it all, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, a 3-3 split, I thought that like the way that these teams were defending was still pretty strong. I think the border definitely, with a larger sample size, leans pretty 50-50 still. I don't think it's a map that you have to go into thinking, well, we need to win 4+ attacking rounds. So I wasn't super worried for W7M when they only got a 3-3 split on attack. But still, I think like this is always going to be a method that you're a little bit concerned about when the stats lean one way.
You mentioned the player's name, Volp specifically, and we got some clips to kind of run through here. So, Jacob, can you help us out? What are you trying to show?
Well, this is the one that I think it is. This is not quite the same map, but we'll look at.
This is the same point.
This is the whole thing. I feel as though Volp still, when it comes to Sledge, he's right behind Pollard from a stats perspective, but it always feels like he can show up no matter what the situation might end up being. It's flexible, it's versatile, you can throw a whole bunch of crazy words in there, but it feels very much like he can do everything, and he's a fantastic shot on top of it all.
Yeah, I mean, the vertical pressure is really what I think is so impressive from Volps. We saw it a lot, especially on this final map here at Border. Even though like he's playing some of the Lions sometimes, we still see so much value out of the vertical plays that he's able to play. He even got a couple whilst he was on the Lion operator. So it's nice to see him always showing up, able to hunt down those roamers. Sometimes it's vertically, like with the Buck, like with the Sledge. Sometimes it's horizontally when you're popping that EE1D, charging into open office and finding 3 frags. I mean, that is the type of thing that you need with your team to be able to get that early advantage. And I think that's something that W7M really did use to their effectiveness.
Our next clip, we got one from our final map, specifically on border. Let's run it through, and I'll ask analysts again. This seemed like the breaking point.
Well, this is where W7M broke Elevate's backs. They managed to storm back into 6-6, and it's GDN. We actually talked in the green room. We were like, how often does he get into fights? Basically never. His job is not to get into fights. It's to stay alive and play a support role because he's not that great in gunfights by comparison to his team. He sticks here for the whole round for as long as he needs to. Keys gets one from the grave with the Razor Bloom. JV finds Onigiri, and now Elevator scrambling. They're looking for anything here, but it's all on GDN's shoulders. This is a round they should not have lost. Not doing it, like, you can't keep on face checking nearly as consistently as Mr. Punch was, and suddenly from around the corner, immediate wall bang. If you don't throw a 4v2, you're in good spirits. If you do throw a 4v2, you're not coming back from it.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like he had intel for that either. It felt like he was just kind of spraying, trying to find the kill through the wall. There were yokais. Obviously, he's on the Echo, but we wouldn't, like, if there was the yokai watching it, surely he just gets on his little drone and he stops the plant, right? So realistically, it didn't feel like there was a whole lot of intel there. Great game sense to know where to fire, to know where that player is probably planting.
All right, our map summary, and I just want to mention, to kind of wrap this first matchup in a neat little bow, here's all the players and how they performed. Who do you think has to keep this going for W7M for us to see them in the grand final?
I mean, obviously, Volps needs to keep on doing what he does. I think the fact that Keys is down here is a bit of a concern, but if he's not nearly as star-studded of a player as we touted him as being, and they still win series, that's just a testament to how everyone else on W7M is still propelling themselves forward in spite of their spearhead not being where they need him to be. If he picks up the pace, and everyone keeps playing like this, then W7M are fine, in theory.
Yeah, I think KZ, like, jumping up, you know, obviously this is a good quarterfinal game. It was a tough game. Elevate played really, really strong. But you're going to have to go through semis. You're going to have to go through a best-of-5 grand finals if you want to win this tournament. And I don't think we can see KZ dropping that same performance time and time again and expecting to win a big best-of-5 grand finals against whatever North American or European team finds them on the other side of the bracket.
And so now my final piece is a goodbye to Elevate. Thank you for their performance and bringing the hype on here. We went all the way to OT. Any standouts you want to mention before we close it out?
I'm just happy Onigiri got a good couple of maps in. I'm really, really happy that we got to see him pop off. We got to see LAN Onigiri that we got used to back at the 6th Invitational. Didn't get to see him in Charlotte. Didn't really see him through groups. I mean, he played, but he didn't have those big moments. I'm glad that we got to see him having a good time here, even if they couldn't find the win with those 2 back-to-back 1v1 final rounds.
It would have been amazing if we saw DCH win when Twitch was unbanned and he was really using it to full effect. The nice part is there's not really a player on Elevate that you can't talk about in a bad way in spite of a loss like that. Phenomenal performance through groups. It feels like they fell off a little bit at the end, but it wasn't that big a deal because this series was still as close as it was. Maybe if you don't face W7M in the playoffs, you go further, but it seems like the Brazilian monster is still alive and kicking.
All right, well, we'll see. Congratulations to W7M for making it through. Of course, thank you to Elevate for joining us here at the Major and giving it their all. It's always fun to have the boys competing, especially here in Berlin and in person with an audience watching them and cheering for them. But that's W7M on to the semifinals. They'll be facing off against the winner of our next matchup. So how about we take a quick break, and when we come back, XSET, North American Brazilian team, whatever you want to call it, versus an EU hopeful. Wolves made it through, and they'll be competing in just a moment.